Anime-style card design. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 1. As a second-dimensional person, I can only play anime. Summer, Shanghai, a happy home. Russell opened his eyes in confusion, and the TV in the house was broadcasting the news. Master card maker, Yan Luo, Bai Yuming arrived in Shanghai today. Welcome Master Bai Yuming to come and give guidance. It is reported that Master Bai Yuming is the master of the underworld system. This visit to Shanghai is to prevent a riot in the secret sea realm, Demon Nest. In addition, this Demon Nest riot is suspected to be the work of the Qi Ling Club. Please report any suspicious persons in time. The voice on TV stung Russell's nerves. Large amounts of memories poured into his mind. Am I traveling through time? Russell muttered to himself. Before traveling through time, Russell was a two-dimensional slave painter. Because of the impact of AI drawing, he had been unemployed for half a year. As a result, he drank too much to drown his sorrows one night and was choked to death by vomit stuck in his throat. What a shameful way to die. Damn. The learning materials in my computer have not been deleted yet. Thinking of the unspeakable information in the computer, Russell's face turned pale. Russell could only hope that his friend would be awake enough. After that, he began to sort out the information in his mind. In his memory, this place was also called Blue Star, but there was a strange profession called card maker on the planet. History began to be similar to the original Blue Star in Russell's memory. But everything changed when Wu Sangui let the barbarians enter the pass. Cracks and secret realms appeared all over the world, and countless monsters emerged from the secret realms. And the muscular man Lu Sheng, a soldier guarding the pass of the Ming dynasty, unfortunately fell into the crack. What was surprising was that this muscular man actually fought the secret realm monster with his body and also obtained the first card on Blue Star. Since then, the situation between the Ming dynasty and the barbarians has reversed, and now it has been passed down for more than 600 years. When the Ming dynasty stabilized, it was discovered that an unknown small country in the vicinity had long been destroyed, and a fox-shaped big demon directly descended on the small country's homeland, causing the small country to now become a demon country. However, the royal family of the Ming dynasty is now just a mascot, and the cabinet is still the real control of the empire. Scratching his head, Russell complained, "Is your Ming dynasty legal?" According to his memory, in recent years, the collision between humans and the demon forces in the secret realm has become increasingly fierce. In some places, there are even large numbers of human troops and demon troops facing each other. In order to supplement the army's manpower, the Ming Dynasty Card Master Association organizes high school students to take talent tests every year to select students with potential for special training. The original owner also died suddenly when he was preparing to make his first card because he stayed up late to review for too long. Thinking of this, Russell couldn't help but feel a little excited. It seems that he has the script of mythology card making. Looking through the World Mythology Atlas Revised Edition 4.8 inches in front of him with full confidence, Russell's mood gradually fell to the bottom. I don't seem to know much about mythology. Russell then remembered that he was not very familiar with mythology, let alone knowing mythological characters like his predecessors. Russell did have some understanding of those well-known gods, but his current level was not enough to support him to make them. The mythology card-making plan failed, and Russell casually flipped through another book on the table, Red Hair Teaches You to Write Stories. Suddenly, his eyes condensed, and he slowly read the words in the book. As long as the logic is self-consistent and the settings are reasonable, it is also possible to make cards. Seeing this, Russell couldn't help but think, does the anime I watched before crossing count? As a two-dimensional painter, he naturally knows all kinds of animations. Putting away his thoughts, Russell continued to look through the card-making materials in front of him. Spiritual power, materials, story settings, and card faces are all indispensable. Among these, spiritual power is the least worrying for Russell. Perhaps because of crossing, his spiritual power has already reached the black iron level. However, it seems that the profession of card maker has high requirements for a person. But this world cannot lose card makers, so naturally this profession has become the best. Shaking his head, Russell threw away his thoughts. Continue to sort out the memories in his heart. Am I alone? The original owner was an orphan, and his parents, Ordinary people died in the invasion of the secret realm demons. All he was left with was this old house and enough money to barely support him through high school. If he wanted to become a card maker, then this money was naturally far from enough. The original owner naturally thought of online loans. As he wished, he borrowed 100,000 yuan in startup capital, but the condition was that if he could not pay it back within a month, the house he was living in would be taken away by the loan group. Russell couldn't help but feel a little overwhelmed. According to the description in his memory, if he succeeded in becoming a card maker, the #1 middle school in Shanghai, where he was, would provide a scholarship of up to 150,000 yuan. Not to mention paying off the online loan, it would barely be enough to finish college. But if he failed, Russell might have to sleep on the streets in the future. Sighing, the card-making matter was imminent. Turning on the old and worn-out computer, Russell began to look through the trading website under the Card Maker Association. The trading website would display the materials that could be purchased according to the account level. As an ordinary person, Russell could only buy materials of the black iron level. Biological materials: rookie pirate, white; elite samurai, blue; human-faced snake, green; corpse dog, green; hang ghost, blue; avenger, green; item materials: katana, green; Mingguang armor, blue; ring-headed broadsword, green; sportswear, white. Looking at the materials listed on the website, Russell tapped his fingers unconsciously. He was thinking about what character cards he could make at the moment. Suddenly, his eyes lit up and he added 3 materials: elite samurai, blue; avenger, green; katana, green; and a blank card to the shopping cart. The total cost of the 4 items was more than 90,000, and Russell gritted his teeth and paid. Success or failure depends on this one move. After paying, Russell felt a sense of emptiness and sat quietly in a chair to rest for a while. About half an hour later, there was a knock on the window. Duoduado. A fat-headed chicken with a snow-white body was combing its feathers outside the window. The most eye-catching thing was of course the small bag across its body. From the original owner's memory, Russell found the origin of the fat-headed chicken. Black iron level white biological card, cuckoo chicken. Generally used for civilian logistics transportation in the city. Russell opened the window and took the envelope that Cuckoo Chicken took out of the small bag. Cuckoo Chicken pecked a button on the small bag, and a female voice came from the bag: "Please confirm the receipt of the items." Russell opened the envelope, and it was 3 materials: elite warrior, blue; avenger, green; samurai sword, green; and a blank card. "Yes, that's it." Russell nodded to Cuckoo Chicken and tried to reach out to touch it. Cuckoo Chicken jumped back cautiously and pecked another button. "Please do not touch the staff during working hours." The next moment, it fluttered away. Seeing the magical Cuckoo Chicken, Russell couldn't help but feel a little yearning for the profession of card master. Before, he only had a vague understanding of the original owner memory. It was not until now that he saw the magic of the card master. Well, now is the time to make the first card. Chapter 2, Ghost Hunter. Russell cleaned up the table and spread out the 3 materials and blank cards on the table in turn. The cards that a card maker can make are roughly divided into creature cards and prop cards. There are also more complicated chain cards, legion cards, etc. But these are too far away for Russell. Russell is currently preparing to make a creature card. Recalling the figure that flashed in his mind, Russell took a deep breath. "It's decided to be you." Picking up the card drawing pen distributed by the school, Russell slowly outlined a black-haired young man with strange reddish-brown markings on his forehead on the white card. After a while, Russell, who had finished drawing, let out a long breath, only to feel that a lot of energy was consumed. But the next step is the most critical step. Stacking the 4 items together, Russell slowly covered them with mental power. Suddenly, he came to a void. A message came from the dark. "Please start compiling your story. Tsugaku, a person in the Warring States period, and his brother Tsugaku Iwakatsuchi are brothers from the same mother. Because of the strange markings on his forehead when he was born, he was disliked by his father. He has a very good relationship with his elder brother, Iwakatsu Tsugikuni. At the age of 7, Tsugikuni Yoriichi showed an amazing talent for swordsmanship, so his father was ready to pass on the family business to him. Tsugikuni Yoriichi was not ready to seize his brother's position, so he said goodbye to his brother and ran away from home. After leaving home, Tsugikuni Yoriichi met a girl named Shi, and the two lived together. At the age of 18, Tsugikuni Yoriichi, and she got married. When she was pregnant, Tsugikuni Yoriichi went out to find a midwife to help an old man, and did not return home in time, so she was killed by the evil spirit. Tsugikuni Yoriichi returned home and saw the tragic scene, and sat in a daze for 10 days. Until he met the swordsman of the Demon Slayer Corps who came to eliminate the evil spirits. Tsugikuni Yoriichi joined the Demon Slayer Corps for revenge, and taught his breathing method to the members of the Demon Slayer Corps. During an operation, Tsukuni Yoichi discovered the ancestor of demons, Muzan Kibutsuji, and his subordinate, Tomoyo, in a bamboo forest. Tsukuni Yoichi's powerful strength frightened Muzan Kibutsuji, but the powerful vitality of the Demon King still allowed Muzan Kibutsuji to escape successfully. Tomoyo, Muzan Kibutsuji's subordinate, was moved by his tragic life experience and finally chose to let him go. At the end of the operation, Tsukuni Yoichi was expelled from the Demon Slayer Corps because he let Tomoyo go, and his brother Tsukuni Iwakatsu rebelled and killed the leader of the Demon Slayer Corps and joined the camp of Muzan Kibutsuji. After leaving the Demon Slayer Corps, Tsukuni Yoichi met Tanji's family. In his interactions with Tanji's family, Tsukuni Yoichi gradually opened his heart. Tsukuni Yoichi passed the sun-breathing method to Tanji, and Tanji said that he would pass it on forever. At the age of 80, Tsujikoku Yoichi met his brother Tsujikoku Iwakatsu, who had become a demon. At this time, Tsujikoku Iwakatsu had changed his name to Kakashibo. Tsujikoku Yoichi swung his knife at Tsujikoku Iwakatsu, and Tsujikoku Iwakatsu was slashed in the neck before he could defend himself. Tsujikoku Yoichi did not swing the next knife, because his life had come to an end. After the compilation was completed, Russell silently waited for the judgment. After a while, he somehow realized that the story he compiled was recognized. His consciousness returned to the hut again. It seemed that a group of man-eating demons appeared in front of him. Just when he was frightened by the breath of the demons and could not move, a young man holding a long knife appeared in front of him. The young man's red pupils were stained with scarlet blood, and the fiery blade killed all the demons. Ghost Hunter, Tsujikoku Yuchi, rank, black iron quality, purple, white, green, blue, purple, gold, and red, category, biological skills, red blade, by using a strong grip or by colliding weapons, the temperature of the blade can be raised, thus turning the blade into a red blade. Using the red blade can greatly increase the damage caused to the evil spirits, and the regeneration speed of the parts of the evil spirits cut by the red blade will also decrease. Sun breathing, strengthen the heart and lung function, so that the blood can absorb a large amount of oxygen in a short period of time, which can greatly increase the body's ability in an instant, and thus temporarily have physical strength equivalent to that of a demon. Transparent world, after entering the transparent world, the user's speed of predicting actions and dodging attacks will be greatly improved, and they can also see the ups and downs of the opponent's lungs and the flow and contraction of blood vessels. Features, stripes. After turning on the stripes, you can greatly improve your physical fitness. Introduction, an avenger who vowed to kill all evil spirits. Bond, when it appears at the same time as the Tsujikoku Iwaki series, the effect, brotherly friendship, can be activated. Russell held his breath, suppressed his excitement, and gently held the card in front of him. Success. It is worth noting that the same story will produce different cards when using different materials. Just like the cards you make with high-level materials cannot still be in their initial state. And some cards are cards that cannot be advanced, and their potential has been exhausted. Obviously, the materials Russell used this time are very suitable for the story. Successfully produced Yoriichi Tsugikuni, but unfortunately, due to the low level of materials, Yoriichi Tsugikunu's strength is obviously not as good as the original. Gently placing the card on his forehead, Russell released his mental power slightly. Ghost Hunter Yoriichi Tsugikuni turned into faint light and entered his mind. In his mind, Russell used his mental power to touch the card slightly. In an instant, a man with black and red hair holding a samurai sword appeared beside him. It was Yoriichi Tsugikuni. Yoriichi Tsugikuni looked around, nodded to Russell, and leaned against the wall to close his eyes. Russell took a deep breath, quickly picked up his phone and took a photo and sent it to his class teacher Wang Ming. Teacher Wang, I made a card, it's purple quality. Picture. At this moment, the class teacher Wang Ming was shocked after receiving Russell's message. Purple. You should know that the requirement for entering the key class of Shanghai No. 1 Middle School is only to make a card of black iron rank blue quality or above. Being able to make a purple quality card is enough to be trained as a seed player. Russell is usually at an average level in the class, let alone purple, and he may not be able to make a blue card. So he sent a message with some doubt and asked, "Russell, are you sure? If you fail the test, you will permanently lose the qualification to become a card maker." "Really? I can take the test when school starts tomorrow." This kid shouldn't lie. Even if he deceived me, he won't pass the test tomorrow. Looking at the message on the phone, Wang Ming thought silently, and then sent another message, "Okay, come to me when school starts tomorrow, and I will take you to take the test. If the test is successful, you can enter the Qi class." Seeing Wang Ming's reply, Russell couldn't help but breathe a sigh of relief. "Okay, thank you Teacher Wang." Putting away the phone, Russell silently observed Yoriichi in front of him. It can only be said that Yoriichi's appearance is indeed very good, and the reddish-brown stripes on his face without sadness or joy are extremely eye-catching. Exhaling a breath, Russell believed that he had taken a solid step in this world. At this time, a red emergency broadcast suddenly appeared on the TV that Russell had been turning on. An unknown abnormality has occurred in the Demon's Nest. Citizens are requested to go to nearby shelters in time. I repeat, an unknown abnormality has occurred in the Demon's Nest. Citizens are requested to go to nearby shelters in time. Chapter 3, Demon's Nest, Riot. The rapid and piercing alarm sounded irritating Russell's nerves. He walked quickly to the window, and saw the thick fog covered the places he could see. Terrifying roars kept coming from the fog. The alarm on the TV was still broadcasting over and over again. There was a panicked sound of footsteps in the residential building where Russell lived. When he opened the door, he saw that the residents in the building were walking downstairs in a hurry. The auntie next door saw Russell and hurriedly called out, "Xiao Luo, go quickly." Russell was pulled by the auntie's arm and merged into the crowd. In the crowd, Russell watched the people around him evacuate in an orderly manner in fear but not panic, and sighed in his heart. People in this world have long been accustomed to the invasion of the secret realm. When he arrived at the gate of the community, a large loudspeaker was playing a recording in a loop. "The card maker is about to come to rescue, please wait patiently, residents and friends. The card maker is about to come to rescue, please wait patiently, residents and friends." The dark fog had already shrouded the surroundings. The residents of Xingfu community did not dare to act rashly. No one knows whether monsters will suddenly appear in the thick fog. The monsters in the secret realm can only be destroyed by cards made by card makers. This is why this world was powerless to fight back against the invasion of the secret realm at the beginning. Most people can only make black iron level white cards, which are all animals similar to cuckoo chickens. Gradually, the crowd became agitated. Shanghai is too big, so the card makers of the Card Master Association are also a little stretched when facing the invasion of the secret realm. Moreover, the invasion this time is the largest secret realm around Shanghai, Demon's Nest. Suddenly, the crowd at the outermost edge screamed, "There are monsters! Monsters from the Demon's Nest!" With the screams, scarlet eyes appeared in the fog. A young man on the periphery gritted his teeth. "Paw Patrol, go!" Black iron level white biological card, Paw Patrol. Can summon a large dog of a random breed. This time it was a German Shepherd. The young man pointed at the fog. "Paw Patrol, go!" The German Shepherd received the order and rushed into the fog. Woof! Woof! Ow! The German Shepherd that disappeared in the mist roared fiercely at first, but soon turned into a low whimper and gradually became silent. The young man's face was pale. People in the crowd around him kept collapsing. "Mom, I want my mom. Those card makers must have gone to protect the rich. That's why they haven't come to save us. I don't want to die." Along with the chaotic shouts of the crowd, the monsters in the thick fog gradually revealed their figures. They were 7 ghouls, the lowest level monsters in the Demon's Nest. 3 of them had large pieces of blood scattered around their mouths, and their sharp teeth were still covered with blood and flesh. But when Russell saw that they were ghouls, he relaxed instead. According to his memory, any black iron level card maker could deal with the ghouls. He was afraid of encountering those indescribable monsters in his memory. For example, the most famous, Flesh King, in the Demon's Nest. He sighed. The education he received in his previous life did not allow Russell to watch the tragedy happen. Putting away his thoughts, Russell was ready to go forward to deal with the ghoul, but found that his left arm was pulled by the auntie next door. "Xiao Luo, don't be so stubborn." Russell gently broke free and smiled at the auntie. "Aunt Sue, I'm a card maker. Aunt Sue was stunned. Card maker? What card maker? She always knew that Luo next door wanted to become a card maker, but she didn't hear that he succeeded. Under Aunt Sue's suspicious eyes, Russell squeezed through the crowded residence in front of him and walked to the front of the crowd. At this time, the eyes of the crowd were attracted by him. Who is this guy? I don't know. Hurry up and pull him back. Don't let him die at such a young age. At this time, the ghoul was very close to the crowd. Russell could clearly see the disgusting saliva of the ghoul dripping to the ground. Touching the card in his mind, Jigoyan appeared in front of him in an instant. The residents of Xingfu community instantly quieted down after seeing Jigoyan. But then a discussion broke out. Is it the card maker? It's the card maker, we are saved? Can such a young card maker really do it? Blocking the noisy discussions around his ears, Russell said softly, it's up to you, Yuichi. Yuichi nodded slightly and slowly drew out the samurai sword in his hand. He exhaled gently, and the blade in Yuichi's hand instantly turned red. The next moment, he disappeared from the side of the residents of the community. When he reappeared, he was already in the group of ghouls. And next to him was a ghoul with its body separated. As if stimulated by the death of their companions, the remaining 6 ghouls jumped up at the same time and pounced on Yuichi from midair. Facing the ghouls from all directions, Yuichi took a deep breath and bent his knees slightly. The fiery red blade light flashed in the eyes of the residents of Xingfu community. The circular blade light swept across the bodies of the ghouls, instantly splitting the 6 ghouls into 2 parts. The crowd instantly exclaimed. Russell took a deep breath. He could imagine that purple quality cards were very strong, but he didn't expect them to be so strong. According to the official data, a normal black iron card maker who made blue quality cards could only deal with 5 at the same time. But Yuan killed 7 ghouls in one breath, and it wasn't even a warm-up. Shaking his head, he threw away his messy thoughts. Russell walked forward and slowly wrapped his mental power around the corpses of the ghouls on the ground. With a sudden force, 7 glittering material cards appeared in his hand. Summoning material, ghoul, green, 7. Looking at the materials in his hand, Russell sighed secretly. Otherwise, how can card makers make money? The average price of black iron green materials is more than 20,000 Ming treasure notes, and he earned 140,000 in one go. Just as Russell was sighing at the huge profits of card makers, Yuan silently blocked him with a knife. A huge figure gradually appeared in the thick fog. Russell frowned. I wonder if Yunai can handle such a big body. Just when he felt more and more uneasy, a male voice came from the fog. Sorry, I met a gluttonous beast on the road, which delayed me a little. I am not late, am I? The huge figure in the thick fog revealed its original appearance. It was a 2-story high silver wolf. The silver wolf stared at Russell with cold pupils. Hey, did you solve these zombies? You are quite strong, classmate. The male voice just now suddenly appeared beside Russell, scaring him. Russell turned his head and saw a young man wearing a colorful shirt, beach pants, and flip-flops. At this time, the man called out to the huge silver wolf in front of him, Okay, Xiaoyu, don't scare me. The silver wolf lowered its head obediently and made a comfortable snoring sound in the man's hand. Meet Xiao Yifei, a junior in the card-making department of Shanghai University. Chapter 4, Yan Luo. Number 1 Middle School in Shanghai, Russell. Russell was relieved to see that it was a card maker from the Cardmaster Association. Xiao Yifei looked at the corpses of the ghouls scattered on the ground and was amazed. All 7 ghouls were killed in one blow. It was obvious that Russell's cards were not only of the blue quality of the black iron grade. Your cards are not only of the blue quality, right? Xiao Yifei asked curiously. Russell nodded, it's purple. But then he asked worriedly, my card was just made today, and I haven't had time to report it to the Cardmaster Association. Will there be any problems? Russell is a wild card maker who has not been certified by the Cardmaster Association. In theory, it is generally not allowed to use cards of the blue quality of the black iron grade or above in public. He was naturally worried that he would be held accountable by the Cardmaster Association. Xiao Yifei was stunned. He thought that the boy in front of him was a prospective college student who was about to enter college. It would not be surprising that a prospective college student could make a black iron purple card after a year of study in the 3rd year of high school. Of course, this refers to students who can make blue cards for the first time. But he didn't expect that Russell was actually a novice who made cards for the first time. It's okay, I will report the situation here to the association truthfully. Xiao Yifei said with a smile, but you are very talented, little classmate. I hope to see you next year in Shanghai University. Although he was a little surprised by Russell's talent, Xiao Yifei, as a student of the card-making department of Shanghai University, had seen all kinds of geniuses. Patting Russell on the shoulder, Xiao Yifei continued, "Don't worry, classmate Luo, I guess the association will reward your behavior. After all, if it weren't for you, the residents present now might." Xiao Yifei shook his head. After receiving the order from the Cardmaster Association, he had already ridden Xiao at full speed towards the happy home. However, he encountered a silver-level monster, the gluttonous beast, on the way, which delayed a lot of time. If Russell hadn't been there, the consequences would be disastrous. However, the Cardmaster Association would not hold him responsible for this. After all, no one knew what monsters would be encountered in the fog. Putting away his thoughts, Xiao Yifei put on a nonchalant smile on his face and said loudly, "Okay, fellow residents of Happy Home, I will escort you to Ningen District now." Before Xiao Yifei finished speaking, there was a sudden violent fluctuation in the sky, causing everyone present to look up. A huge figure appeared above Shanghai City, staring at the direction of the secret realm, Demon's Nest, with a look of neither joy nor sorrow, followed by a majestic voice, "Qi Ling Society, you have crossed the line this time." As the voice fell, the huge figure just exhaled lightly, and the thick fog covering Shanghai City was blown away. At the same time, the monsters in the fog also turned into black and gray smoke and disappeared. Russell stared blankly at the scene in the sky. Can a card maker be so powerful? Just a breath solved the crisis of the entire Shanghai City. Russell couldn't help but ask Xiao Yifei beside him, "Brother Xiao, which card maker is this?" Xiao Yifei looked at the sky with a serious expression and slowly uttered a few words, "Yan Luo Master Bai Yuming. Core card, Bao Zheng, the king of Yama in the 5th palace." Yan Luo. It was not until this moment that Russell clearly realized what the name Yan Luo represented. At this moment, a hoarse and piercing laugh spread throughout Shanghai. Bai Yuming, can you protect them for a while? Can you protect them for a lifetime?" Bai Yuming was silent for a long time before he spoke. "As long as I, Bai Yuming, am still here, the coastal defense line will never fall. What's more, with Xiao Yi and Daming, do you really dare to tear your face apart?" The hoarse voice seemed to be strangled by someone, but then sneered, "I'm afraid you Joe can't hold on for a few years. There is a long time to come, let's wait and see." As the conversation ended, the huge Bao Zheng, the king of hell in the 5th palace, in the sky slowly dissipated. Russell's eyes twitched. The strength of the Qi Ling Society was not very good, but they were very fierce. Seeing that the situation had stabilized, Xiao Yifei turned around and clapped his hands to attract the attention of the residents present. "Okay, all the residents have seen that Master Bai Yuming has thwarted the conspiracy of the Qi Ling Society. Now everyone can go back." Seeing that the residents of Xingfu community began to return to their homes one after another, Xiao Yifei turned to Russell and said, "Student Luo, it's better to do it now than to wait for a day. Do you want to go back to the association with me to register now?" Russell thought about it. Even if he didn't register today, he would be dragged to register by the class teacher tomorrow. Thinking of this, Russell nodded, "Then I'll trouble you, Brother Xiao." Seeing Russell nodded in agreement, Xiao Yifei used the card to materialize 2 sets of saddles. It is worth mentioning that there is no upper limit on the number of prop cards, while a person can only hold one of the same biological card at the same time. Xiao also crouched beside them at the right time. "Come on, ride Xiao back faster." Throwing a pair of saddles to Russell, Xiao Yifei took the lead in sitting on Xiao's back. Russell followed suit and turned over to sit on Xiao. Feeling the whistling wind in his ears, Russell asked curiously, "Brother Xiao, can this also be used on the road?" Xiao Yifei looked through the messages in the association's card-maker penguin group on his phone and replied casually, "Oh, as long as the rideable creature card is reported to the association, it can be used on the road. The same applies to the vehicle type in the prop card." Russell nodded thoughtfully, and then asked, "Does the humanoid creature card count as a rideable creature?" Xiao Yifei put down his phone and looked at Russell blankly. "I'm kidding." But Xiao Yifei seemed to have thought of something and said, "It seems. It can be used. I remember that there seems to be a female card maker in Beijing University who likes to ride muscular men." "Huh? Now it was Russell's turn to look confused. He was really just joking. Feeling that it was a dangerous topic to continue the conversation, Russell took the initiative to change the subject. Brother Zio, how do you think the association will deal with me? Zio Yiffy shook his phone after hearing this. I have already reported to the association, and they asked me to bring you back first. Is it too late for me to get off the car now? Zio Yiffy was amused by Russell. Don't worry, if something really happens, I have already controlled you. If the order he received was to control Russell, he would not be so gentle at the moment. The Card Artist Association has zero tolerance for illegal card makers. What kind of people are illegal card makers? You can refer to the Qi Ling Association. I always think about the whole big job to open the eyes of the world. During the conversation between the two, they arrived at the Card Artist Association branch in Ningen District in a flash. A middle-aged man had been waiting at the door for a long time. When he saw Zio Yiffy, his eyes lit up. Then he looked at Russell. You must be Mr. Luo, Zio told me. The man stepped forward and held Russell's hand. The Ningen District Card Architects Association thanks you for your help, Mr. Luo. Russell was a little confused by the attitude of the Card Architects Association, but after all, he was not the 18-year-old high school boy of the original owner. He immediately understood what was going on. The Ningen District Card Architects Association was preparing to establish itself as a role model. Chapter 5 It's impossible to pretend to hit someone in the face. After realizing the intention of the Card Master Association, Russell smiled and waved his hands. No, I believe that the well-educated people of the Ming Dynasty will stand up when encountering such a situation. That may not be the case. There are many new card masters who are weak in the face of monsters during the high school secret realm training. The person in charge thought secretly in his heart. Although he was a little non-committal about Russell's words, he was still very satisfied with Russell's approach. How about this, classmate Luo? Let's register your identity as a card maker first, and then talk about the interview. Standing at the entrance of the branch, looking at the card with the word Black Iron in his hand, Russell was a little dazed. This is becoming an officially registered card maker. Black Iron, Bronze, Silver, Gold, Jade, Diamond, Master, Hall. I have just taken the first step. After sorting out his inner feelings, Russell's mind echoed the words of the branch manager who just called himself Ma Liang. Student Luo, we are going to do an interview with you at your school tomorrow. We will be in charge of contacting the school. The interview will be conducted by the Shanghai Daily. What's your opinion? After receiving the 100,000 yuan reward for bravery, what could Russell have said? However, the 100,000 yuan will not be available until tomorrow. After all, he still needs to take photos and so on. On the way home, Russell's cell phone kept ringing. He picked up the phone and saw that it was the class teacher Wang Ming. Hello? Teacher, what's wrong? Russell. The shouting from the other end of the phone almost deafened Russell's ears. Momo moved the phone further away. I'm here. Wang Ming calmed down and said, Russell, the school has informed me of your heroic act. I called you to ask if you were injured. Russell's heart warmed. No, class teacher, how could a few zombies hurt me? Hearing Russell's answer, Wang Ming breathed a sigh of relief and said, that's good. You have a good dress today. Remember to clean up your appearance tomorrow morning. That's it. Listening to the busy tone coming from the phone, Russell couldn't help laughing. Is this the only reason to call? Ding, welfare card. The next day, Russell got up early and took the bus. Today is the first day of school for all high schools in Shanghai. Good morning, Russell. A greasy-haired boy sat next to Russell with a school bag. Russell nodded. Good morning, Mo Fang. Mo Fang was a classmate of the original owner. His family ran a small business. The relationship was barely okay. Just as Russell leaned his head against the window in a daze, Mo Fang suddenly started the topic. Speaking of which, Russell, how is your card making going? Seeing Mo Fang's erratic look, Russell couldn't help but laugh out loud. It was obvious that Mo Fang was a teenager who had achieved some success and wanted to show off. Sure enough, Mo Fang's next sentence was, I was lucky and made a black iron green card. Mo Fang was a little complacent at this time. If he could make a black iron green card in the third year of high school, it would not be impossible for him to make a blue card and become a card maker in the future. In his opinion, as an orphan, Russell probably didn't try to make cards during the summer vacation. Just as he was about to enjoy Russell's flattery, he heard the other party say lightly, then congratulations. Russell didn't have any idea of pretending to be cool at this time. After all, in his eyes, Mo Fang was still a child who had not entered society. Mo Fang scratched his head. He always felt that the Russell today was a little different from the Russell before, but he couldn't tell where the difference was. Ding, we've arrived at number 1 middle school in Shanghai. Please get off the bus in an orderly manner. Let's go, Russell, we've arrived. Mo Fang was the first to carry his school bag. The two got off the bus, and Russell saw Wang Ming, the head teacher, waiting at the school gate. Good morning, Teacher Wang. Mo Fang greeted Wang Ming honestly. Wang Ming nodded to him, and then anxiously pulled Russell. Let's go quickly, everyone is waiting for you. Watching the head teacher pulling Russell away at a trot, Mo Fang fell into deep thought. Then he came up with a bold guess. He ran to the classroom quickly, opened the door, and shouted, Russell may drop out of school and go to work. Seeing that everyone in the class was attracted by him, Mo Fang loudly stated his judgment. For example, Russell was an orphan, and his family had no money and could not continue to study. For example, he was depressed on the bus in the morning. For example, the head teacher was waiting for him at the school gate early in the morning. Everyone in the class gradually recognized Mo Fang's judgment. While the classroom was heatedly discussing whether to donate to Russell. On the other side, Wang Ming trotted with Russell to the principal's office. After calming down for a while, Wang Ming pushed open the door of the office. Principal Z, Russell is here. Hurry up, Reporter Lee and President Ma are waiting. After entering the door, Russell shouted honestly, Principal Z, President Ma, good morning. Ma Liang, President of the Ning'an District Card Makers Association, smiled and said, You kid, I said just call me Uncle Ma. Then he pointed to a capable urban beauty. This is Reporter Lee from the Huchin Daily. Reporter Lee stepped forward and shook Russell's hand. Hello, classmate Luo. Today we will have a brief interview. Don't be nervous. Classmate Luo, may I ask why you stood up in such a dangerous situation? Because the neighbors of Happy Home need my protection, and I believe that any student of Huchin number 1 middle school, any card maker of the Card Makers Association, would stand up in that situation. Russell's words were flawless. Principal Z smiled with satisfaction upon hearing this. Reporter Lee then asked, I heard from President Ma that you made a purple card the first time you made a deck, is that right? Russell complained in his heart. This reporter really asked everything. Didn't he know that the card information is the biggest secret of a card maker? But his expression remained unchanged, and he replied calmly, I was just lucky, and the story I compiled was recognized, which is inseparable from the daily teaching of number 1 middle school and the association. Principal Z couldn't be more satisfied with Russell at this time. He has a talent for card making and high emotional intelligence, and is indeed very suitable to be trained as the face of number 1 middle school this year. After Reporter Lee finished recording, she said, Please ask classmate Luo, Principal Z, and President Ma to stand together and take a photo. As she said that, she took a banner from the side and handed it to Russell. Classmate Luo, hold this. The banner read, A brave number 1 middle school student, a good boy who is brave and righteous. Russell's eyes twitched, and he knew at a glance that it was made by Shanghai number 1 middle school itself. Holding the banner, Russell took a group photo with a fake smile. Very good, thank you for your cooperation, Mr. Luo. Reporter Lee looked at the photo with satisfaction. Then I'll go back first. Seeing that there seemed to be nothing for him to do, Russell asked hesitantly. Student Russell, please wait a moment, the association gave you a reward, and we have a reward for you in number 1 middle school. Just as Russell was about to leave, Principal Z called him. Chapter 6 Pretend to slap your face. There is such a good thing? Russell couldn't help but think of this. Principal Z smiled and picked up a booklet from the desk. Student Russell, you can choose one of these materials. It will be delivered to your home after school. Russell took the booklet and flipped through it carefully. Fine steel sword, blue, blood-stained jade pendant, purple, corpse dog, physical enhancement type, purple. The booklet was full of black iron-grade materials of blue quality or above. Suddenly, Russell's eyes condensed. Principal Z, I choose this. Principal Z and others looked at a material Russell pointed to. Elite cool, purple. Seeing Russell's choice, Ma Liang hesitated to speak, but finally said, Student Luo, I suggest you choose an item material to make a prop card to enhance the creature card you already have. Normally, the second card made by a novice card maker is a prop card. On the one hand, The prop card can increase the combat effectiveness of the existing creature card. On the other hand, the first creature card made by a novice card maker may be completed by luck. It is likely that the material will be wasted if the second card is made in a hurry. Russell shook his head and said to Ma Liang, "Uncle Ma, thank you for your advice. I still decided to choose this." Seeing that Russell was determined, the people present were not prepared to continue to persuade him. "You know, it is a taboo to interfere with the card maker's card-making ideas," Wang Ming said at this time. Then Principal Z, "President Ma, I will take Russell to the key class first." The two nodded slightly. Watching the two walk out of the office, Ma Liang smiled and said, "Old Z, it seems that your school has produced a good seedling this time. I'm afraid you have some confidence in the joint examination of the 4 schools in Ning'an district in a month." When Principal Z heard what Ma Liang said, a trace of worry appeared between his brows. "I heard that several other schools have also produced good seedlings. Even Ning'an No. 1 Middle School has been rumored to have a student whose first card is golden." Ma Liang did not agree with Principal Z's words. The measure of whether a card maker is strong or not is never just the quality of the card level. In his opinion, Russell was willing to stand up at a critical moment, which was much better than the so-called seed players of other schools. "Old Ma, I want to ask you for something. I have never asked anyone for help in all these years." Just as Ma Liang was sighing inwardly, Principal Z's voice came from the side. "Do you want to go back and say goodbye to your classmates?" On the way, Wang Ming asked Russell. Russell thought about it and shook his head. "It's not graduation. I'm still in No. 1 Middle School. I can always see you if I want to." "That's right." As they were talking, the two came to the door of the key class. The probability of a card maker emerging in the second year of high school at Shanghai No. 1 Middle School is very low, so the entire school has only one key class. "Teacher Song, please come out for a moment," Wang Ming shouted to the classroom from the door. Soon, a middle-aged female teacher came out of the classroom. "This is Russell. From today on, he is also your student." Wang Ming pointed at Russell and introduced him. Then he turned to Russell. "This is Song Jin, a senior teacher in our No. 1 Middle School. She will be your class teacher in the future." Russell nodded and greeted Song Jin. "Good morning, Teacher Song." "Hello, Russell, go in and get familiar with the students first." Song Jin pushed her glasses and cast a probing look at Wang Ming. "He is." Looking at the two people talking outside the window, Russell stood on the podium. "Hello, everyone, I am Russell. Please give me more advice in the future." After speaking, he scanned the classroom. There were a total of 12 people in the classroom, including him, and there was only one girl. Hearing Russell's self-introduction, the girl exclaimed, "You are Russell." Russell raised his eyebrows and said, "Do you know me?" "Of course I know you, after all, you are a role model." "My name is Jiang Nangxi," Jiang Nangxi said with a smile. Jiang Nangxi's father is a gold-class card maker. She learned about Russell from her father last night. Russell laughed dumbly when he heard this. He always felt that the girl opposite him was being sarcastic. "It's just that the association is praising me." "Okay, be quiet for a while." Song Jin walked into the classroom at this time. "I think everyone knows this classmate Luo. Classmate Luo bravely saved a community resident during the Demon's Nest riot yesterday. Let's applaud him." Song Jin took the lead in applauding. In the applause, facing everyone's curious eyes, Russell smiled. "Everyone can do it. A sedan chair is carried by people, and saying a few good words will not lose weight." Ahem. Song Jin cleared her throat. "Now let's introduce ourselves." Russell walked down the platform and gave his seat to other students. After a while, the self-introductions were over, and Russell found that there were two people in the class who deserved special attention. One was the girl Jiang Nangxi just now, whose card was the black iron purple card, Three-Tailed Fox. In Russell's memory, the highest diamond red card, Nine-Tailed Edgy, appeared in the Demon Fox series. Another person was a boy who hung with a short ponytail, whose card was the black iron purple card, Green Zombie. The Zombie series has a good prospect, and unlike the Demon Fox series, the transition of the Zombie series is very smooth. However, Russell knew Du Heng. He was a classmate of the original owner before, and because the original owner was an orphan, he took the lead in isolating and bullying Russell, but was stopped by the class teacher Wang Ming. Tisk. Bully dog. Russell's eyes turned cold when he thought of this. "Okay." Song Jin clapped her hands to attract the attention of the students present. "Next, I have something to announce. That is, in 1 month, our Ningen district will hold a joint examination of 4 schools, and the winning school will have a chance to enter the secret realm for practical training. Secret realm. Hearing Song Jin's words, the heartbeats of the students present could not help but speed up a bit. You know, being able to enter the secret realm means that you can obtain rich material resources, whether it is for selling or for making cards. It is excellent. Seeing that the students have been attracted by her, Song Jin smiled triumphantly, but each school can only send 3 people to participate in the joint examination, and only these 3 people can enter the secret realm. Therefore, our key classes will implement ranking system. Song Jin paused and continued, tomorrow, we will have the first ranking. The method is a card maker duel. The so-called card maker duel means that except for not being able to directly attack the opponent's card maker, all other methods can be used. However, most card makers will choose to surrender after the current level of cards are exhausted. It is worth mentioning that when the card maker's biological card dies, it will fall into a cooling down period of up to 1 day. Song Jin left the classroom after announcing the news. Du Heng walked slowly to Russell with a trace of disdain. Russell, I didn't expect that you have turned from a black chicken into a phoenix after not seeing you for a few days. Du Heng has always been a proud child of heaven. Seeing that the former orphan Russell is now in the limelight, jealousy is rising in his heart. Russell rolled his eyes and said perfunctorily, yeah, you are much better than me, congratulations. Seeing Russell's perfunctory look, Du Heng couldn't help but feel humiliated. Cricket, an orphan, dares to have such an attitude. Then, a sinister look appeared on his face. Tomorrow in the ranking battle, I will tear your cards into pieces in front of everyone. Russell was too lazy to argue and looked at him speechlessly. When Wang Ming returned to the class, he found that the classroom was in chaos. When Mo Fang saw Wang Ming coming back, he immediately said with a sad face, Teacher Wang, did Russell drop out of school to work? Wang Ming looked at him in confusion and replied, where did you hear that? Russell became a card maker and entered the key class. The classroom fell into silence, but soon there was a deafening shout. Chapter 7 Idiot. The next afternoon was a story editing class, and Russell yawned constantly. But he still resisted the sleepiness and listened to the class, even though he had many anime stories in his mind. But how to reasonably output cards is also a big question. After finally getting through school, Russell was blocked by Du Heng in the classroom. Russell, let's have a battle today. Did this guy consider that the death of the card would fall into a 24-hour cooldown period? Brainless and arrogant, Russell silently labeled Du Heng in his heart, and responded, forget it, I have something urgent to go home today. Anyway, the ranking test is tomorrow, you bear it. Seeing that Du Heng did not give way, Russell forced a path. Du Heng looked at Russell's figure in the distance with a gloomy expression. Humph, a lucky guy, the first place will only be mine. Taking the bus, Russell returned all the way to his old and shabby apartment. Sitting in front of the computer, he secretly calculated his current gains. First, there are 7 pieces of ghoul green. These are the materials condensed from killing ghouls before. Russell is not going to use them himself, so he sets the price at 20,000 Ming Dynasty treasure notes. Russell has posted all 7 materials on the trading website. The second is elite ghoul, purple. This is one of the materials for the next card that Russell has reserved, so he will not trade it. As for cash, Shanghai No. 1 Middle School will reward 150,000 Ming Dynasty treasure notes for students who enter the key classes, and the Black Iron level card maker will receive a monthly subsidy of 20,000. In addition to the 100,000 bonus for bravery and the remaining online loans, Russell now has a total of more than 280,000 in cash. Thinking of this, he couldn't help but breathe a sigh of relief. Life has gotten better. Picking up his phone, Russell sent a message to a person with the note, Brother Tiger. Brother Tiger, I have collected all the money. Can you come over today? I want to pay off the money I owed before. On the other side, a bald strong man looked at the message sent by the note. Russell, student, no potential, can try to develop and fail into deep thought. This person is naturally Brother Who. Have you collected enough money? Loan to pay off the loan? Or? After thinking for a while, Brother Who replied to Russell, okay, Mr. Luo, we'll be there right away. After replying, Brother Who raised his head and said, Thin guy, take the contract and go out with me. The contract is on the shelf of the potential target. Got it, Brother Who. The man called Thin Guy replied. Soon the two drove to the Xingfuan community. Dow dow dow. The knock on the door sounded in the empty corridor. I'm coming. A response came from inside the house, and soon the door was opened. It was Russell. Brother who, right? Please come in, you don't need to change your shoes. The three sat down on the sofa, and Russell pushed an envelope on the coffee table in front of the two. There are 120,000 in it, which should be enough with interest. While speaking, Russell called out Jigoyuanai. Jigoyuanai leaned against the wall quietly with a knife in his arms, watching the online loan duo. Cardmaker brother whose eyes narrowed when he saw Jigoyuanai. He didn't expect that the boy in front of him would really become a registered card maker, even though his talent was not very good when he was investigated. But he immediately put on a smile on his face. Congratulations to classmate Luo for becoming a card maker. Let's do this, you don't have to pay back the money. Just consider it as a gift from Duoduo Finance to classmate Luo. As he said that, he took the contract from the thin man and tore it into pieces in front of Russell. Russell sneered inwardly at brother whose performance. If you are too attentive without any reason, you are either a traitor or a thief. And Russell is not going to get involved in these gray industries. Although he thought so in his heart, Russell still had a fake smile on his face. A man without faith cannot stand. Brother who, you should take the money. If you borrow and pay, it will not be difficult to borrow again. Brother whose smile froze when he heard this. Good boy, you don't take soft or hard words. Unfortunately, brother who is a smart man, so he naturally can't offend a registered card maker of the Card Artist Association for just over 100,000 yuan. Even though Russell was just a small iron-level card maker. After a moment of silence, Brother Tiger still smiled and accepted the money. Student Luo is still very conscious. I am not as good as him. Then you and our Duoduo Finance are done. We won't bother you anymore. After saying that, Brother Tiger took the thin man away from Russell's house. Downstairs, the thin man leaned over to Brother Tiger and whispered, Brother, this kid doesn't know what's good for him. Pa. Before he finished speaking, he got a heavy slap on the face. Brother Tiger stared at the thin man with a cold look like a venomous snake. Stupid, if you say that again next time, I will let you accompany your seniors as materials. The most important thing for us is to keep a low profile. Are you crazy or am I crazy? You actually want to attack a registered card maker. The thin man looked at Brother Tiger's fierce eyes and shuddered when he thought of the fate of his seniors. He covered his swollen face, lowered his head and dared not look at Brother Tiger, hesitatingly said, I was wrong, Brother Tiger, I won't do it next time. Brother Tiger snorted coldly and said, let's go to the next one. The next one can't pay back the money. Russell, who paid off his debts, breathed a sigh of relief. The urgent problem had been solved, and now he should consider making the next card. He already had several options for the next one. The first choice must be Black Death Mu, Tsugikuni Iwakatsu. First of all, this card can form a bond with Russell's Tsugikuni Yoriichi, and secondly, Black Death Mu's strength as an upper rank one is definitely qualified. If the material is good enough, Russell even thinks it can impact the gold quality. But Black Death Mu also has a big disadvantage, that is, it is afraid of light. Therefore, if he wants to make Black Death Mu, Russell has to find a way to solve this problem. However, at present, he still only has Elite Ghoul, Purple, as the material, and the rest of the materials have not been settled yet, so there is plenty of time to perfect the idea of the next card. I'm still short of money. Thinking of this, Russell couldn't help but sigh. The most rubbish and least common purple material starts at 150,000, not to mention the powerful material. This is just a black iron grade material. High-grade materials are often in short supply, and card makers are more inclined to barter. But as a student, there is no legal way to obtain funds in a short time. If you want to make money, you can only hope that Shanghai No. 1 Middle School will win the 4-school joint examination in a month. But in his memory, the results of Shanghai No. 1 Middle School in previous years were not good. Throwing away the complicated thoughts in his mind, Russell prepared to start today's meditation. Professor Daming's meditation method is Deep Blue Meditation Method, which is said to be spread by the tough guy Lu Shen. It is worth mentioning that almost everyone in Daming practices Deep Blue Meditation Method. And the remaining countries in this world are basically like this, and there is no special meditation method inherited from the family. Therefore, meditation method will not become a shackle that shackles the card maker's progress. What really prevents card makers from going further is the ability to construct stories. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, It means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelists. There you'll find the original version of this story, and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 8 Ranking Test. Time soon came to the second day. Songjin stood on the podium and stuffed the slips of paper with the names of the 12 students in the Qi class into a sealed box. After shaking it for a while, she picked out 2 slips of paper. Now I will announce who the 2 students for the first test are. Slowly opening the slips in her hand, Songjin smiled. Russell versus Lin Yu. Russell raised his eyebrows slightly when he heard his name. He didn't expect that he would be the first to go on the field. The teachers and students of the Qi class came to the special battlefield of Shanghai No. 1 Middle School. Lin Yu stood far away on one side of the field and said to Russell, "Russell, please give me more advice." As he spoke, a figure with a bull's head and a human body, holding a steel knife, appeared in front of him. Bullhead. Russell looked at Lin Yu's card with some surprise, but then denied his guess. If it is Soul Catcher, Bullhead, it should not be only of black iron grade blue quality. Then there are only 2 possibilities. One is that this is just a simple monster with a bull's head and a human body, and the other is that it is a defective version of the bull's head because the story is not perfect and the material level is not high enough. But Russell is more inclined to the first possibility. Generally, biological cards with low quality and self-made stories like this do not have any special abilities. Jigoyan appeared in front of Russell in an instant. "Leave it to you, Yuanai." Jigoyan nodded gently when he heard it. Speaking of which, Russell has never known whether Jigoyan didn't want to talk or couldn't talk. Zhang Nengxi and Du Heng, who were standing on the sidelines, saw Jigoyan and their eyes suddenly condensed. This was the first time they saw Russell's card. In the field, Jigoyan took a deep breath and rushed towards the bull-headed monster in an instant. The distance between the two was rapidly shortened. Perhaps it was because of the quality of the card, or perhaps it was because the monster's intelligence was not high. It was not until Jigoyan Yuanai came in front of him that the Minotaur barely reacted. Squeak. The 2 knives intersected, and red sparks flashed in the eyes of the teachers and students present. But the next moment, a cry of surprise came from Lin Yu's mouth. In front of him, Jigoyan Yuanai gave up the knife fight, stepped back sideways, and took advantage of the moment when the Minotaur staggered due to the loss of wrestling power to crouch down and come to his side. The blade wrapped in flames slashed across the Minotaur's neck. On its side, Jigoyan Yuanai, who had already turned his back to the Minotaur, slowly put away his knife. Behind him was the Minotaur whose body was separated and gradually dissipated in the air. Russell wins. Songjin announced the result loudly on the sidelines, with an unconcealed joy on her face. Russell's excellence far exceeded her imagination. If his first card was not limited by the materials, he might be able to make it directly with gold quality. Principal Z's vision was indeed correct. Russell was indeed worthy of being cultivated as a seed of Shanghai No. 1 Middle School. In this year's joint examination of 4 schools, Shanghai No. 1 Middle School is not without a chance. Zhang Nengxi watched the battle between Russell and Lin Yu with a frown on her face. From just one battle, she couldn't tell what Jigoyan Yuanai was capable of. She only knew that Jigoyan Yuanai was a top-notch card, even among the black iron purple cards. Thinking of this, she turned to Du Heng and asked, "How is it? Are you sure?" Du Heng raised his eyebrows and smiled confidently. "If it was Russell, it might be a little tricky." "Will he lose?" "We will win. Fortunately it's not the red-haired one, otherwise we might have to fight until the avenue is wiped out." On the sidelines, Russell watched Du Heng summon a zombie covered with green hair, and secretly complained in his heart. But to be honest, Du Heng's green zombie is indeed very strong. At least one of the abilities that Russell can see is to increase the strength of the physical body. As for more, it can't be seen because the opponent is too weak. As soon as Du Heng's opponent's card was summoned, it was pressed to the ground by the green zombie and soon dissipated into the air. "Haha, you useless guy, you're too weak, I'm not interested at all." Du Heng laughed in the middle of the field. "You can get into the Qi class." The classmate opposite him looked pale and seemed a little embarrassed. Victoria Song frowned on the sidelines. In her opinion, Du Heng was a little too much. They were classmates, not mortal enemies, so there was no need to say such harsh words. Du Heng will suffer sooner or later with this character. Zhang Nengxi shook her head beside him. Russell nodded in agreement, and then said indifferently, "Why bother so much? We are not his parents. Maybe Du Heng will suffer, but what does it have to do with him? He and Du Heng are not related. Next game, Jiang Nangxi vs. Su Jin. Victoria Song's voice sounded on the side. It's your turn, come on. Russell turned to Jiang Nangxi on the side and said. Jiang Nangxi heard the words and rolled up the hair scattered around her ears, smiled and said, thank you. After speaking, she turned and walked towards the field. What were you talking about with Jiang Nangxi just now? Du Heng sat beside Russell carelessly. In the previous match, he saw his two focused targets, Russell and Jiang Nangxi, whispering to each other off the court. Silently moving his butt, Russell looked into Du Heng's eyes and said sincerely, nothing, just that you are too strong. We don't think we can beat you. Du Heng naturally heard Russell's sarcasm. Tisk, sharp-tongued guy, I hope you can be so tough on the court later. Russell sighed in his heart, why is this kid so violent? Without responding to Du Heng's words, Russell cast his eyes back to the court. But the situation on the court made him a little confused. Jiang Nangxi's opponent's card was staring blankly at the void in the court. And Jiang Nangxi's three-tailed fox leisurely strolled to the opponent's card. With a claw handed out, the opponent's card received a box lunch. Russell frowned when he saw this illusion. At this moment, Russell had an unwarranted association. I wonder which one is stronger, Uchiha-Itachi's illusion or the fox's illusion. In the next round, Russell, Du Heng, and Jiang Nangxi still didn't meet. The opponents of the three were still shattered at the first touch. As of now, the three are leading by a cliff in the Qi class. If no one has an epiphany, the three of them may go to the joint entrance examination of the 4 schools in Ning'an district in a month. This made Russell doubt whether it was Song Jin's conspiracy, but then he thought his idea was a bit funny. This is only the first ranking test, and if someone is not satisfied with a ranking, they can apply to compete with a target. Of course, you can only apply once a week, otherwise it will be endless and you don't have to go to class. Papa. Victoria Song clapped her hands to attract the students' attention. Because there are only 3 students left, Russell, Du Heng, and Jiang Nangxi, one student will be given a bye and advance directly to the final round in the next round. In fact, it would be more reasonable for the student with a bye to play against the loser of the next round, but after all, there is a 1-day cool-down period after the card dies. Looking at the note in her hand, Victoria Song said loudly, the next round is Chapter 9, Harsh Words Are the Behavior of the Weak. Du Heng vs. Jiang Nangxi. Following Victoria Song's announcement, Du Heng and Jiang Nangxi stood up at the same time. Du Heng turned to Jiang Nangxi and said, I won't show mercy just because you're a girl. Although Jiang Nangxi's fox demon is also very strong, he is confident that he will not lose to one person. Jiang Nangxi had a gentle smile on his face and ignored Du Heng. The two stood on the sidelines, and the green zombie and the three-tailed fox appeared in front of them instantly. The three-tailed fox took the lead in using illusion. But it didn't work. The green zombie was not affected at all. The sudden change made Jiang Nangxi restrain the smile on his face. Du Heng looked at this scene with pride, and couldn't help but say, zombies have no intelligence at this stage of green zombies, only instincts. Your three-tailed fox can't build a high-level illusion now. If Du Heng is a little arrogant, then so is he. Jiang Nangxi thought to herself that except for Du Heng and Russell, the students in the Qi class were not her opponents, which made her feel a little proud. Ignoring Jiang Nangxi's inner thoughts, the three-tailed fox took the lead in attacking. The three-tailed fox on all fours was extremely fast and arrived at the side of the green zombie in the blink of an eye. The sharp claws flashing with cold light left after images in the air. Du Heng saw this situation, but he didn't panic at all. Because the most powerful ability of the three-tailed fox is illusion. In terms of melee, he is confident that no one in the Qi class can be the opponent of the green zombie. Even Russell's card can't do it. Sure enough, although the three-tailed fox's claws touched the body of the green zombie, it only caused a few slight blood marks. Just when the three-tailed fox's old strength was gone and new strength had not yet been generated, the green zombie grabbed its tail and slammed the three-tailed fox to the ground like a sandbag. The three-tailed fox couldn't help but let out a cry of grief. Russell on the sidelines saw the green zombie dancing the three-tailed fox with great vigor, and his eyes twitched. Why does this scene look so familiar? The Hulk vs. Loki, right? Even the abilities are very similar. Finally, after being hit by a powerful blow from the green zombie, the three-tailed fox gradually dissipated into the air. Too weak, Jiang Nangxi, you are no different from those trash before. Du Heng laughed wantonly in the field. Ignoring Du Heng's ridicule, Jiang Nangxi actually didn't feel much frustration. The green zombie restrained the three-tailed fox in all aspects, and finding a way to crack it is the task of the card master. Whether it is making prop cards to enhance existing biological cards, or making new biological cards to deal with complex situations, they are all solutions. With a light sigh, Jiang Nangxi walked off the field and came to Russell, smiling and encouraging. "Come on, Russell." Russell smiled and said, "You seem to have made a mistake, he is the challenger." After saying that, without paying attention to Jiang Nangxi's reaction, Russell slowly walked into the field. Jiang Nangxi was stunned looking at Russell's back. Russell, so crazy. Not knowing what Jiang Nangxi was thinking off the field, Russell stood opposite Du Heng and called out Jigo Yuanai. When Jigo Yuanai saw the green zombie on the other side of the field, his expression turned cold. Bad memories before the green zombie could react, Jigo Yuanai had already rushed up with a knife. While running, the blade gradually turned red. Jiang Nangxi looked at this scene seriously on the sidelines. "I have never seen such an ability." In the blink of an eye, Jigo Yuanai came in front of the green zombie. The samurai sword was accompanied by the sound of whistling wind, and it chopped the green zombie's neck from right to left. Roar! The green zombie roared, and stretched out his right hand to block the blade. Swish! Like a hot knife cutting butter, a long green hairy hand flew high and fell to the ground. In just one encounter, the green zombie lost his right hand. The green zombie roared in pain, but did not retreat but advanced, biting Jigo Yuanai. Jigo Yuanai's eyes focused, and he slashed with a rotating blade. In Du Heng's astonished eyes, the green zombie was beheaded by a knife and dissipated into the air. What? Du Heng looked at the scene in front of him in disbelief. "I lost." He thought that maybe Russell would be difficult to deal with, but he always believed that he would win in the end. But he didn't expect that the green zombie would only last 2 rounds before being killed by Jigo Yuanai. It seems that even Russell's cards did not play at full strength. Du Heng couldn't accept his defeat at this time. The specially designed battlefield of Shanghai No. 1 Middle School also fell into silence at this time. The students in the Qi class thought that Russell would win, and some thought that Du Heng would win. But no one thought that Russell would win so easily. In front of Russell, Du Heng's green zombie and Russell's first-round opponent, the Minotaur, performed about the same. Gradually, waves of discussion began to sound in the venue. Is Russell so strong? As if, open the champagne. No wonder he can save the residents of a community. Tisk, you see Du Heng is so arrogant at ordinary times, but he can't last more than 2 minutes in front of Russell. It's so funny. SHH, keep your voice down. Du Heng can't beat Russell, but he can't beat you. If he doesn't seek revenge on Russell, he will bully people like us. Does he have the nerve to do that? Ignoring the voice in his ear, Russell came to Du Heng. Are you okay? Just when Du Heng, who was slumped on the ground, thought Russell was going to comfort himself, Russell whispered, I'll give you back what you said to your classmates. Waste, you are too weak. I am not interested at all. Can you enter the Qi class? At this moment, Du Heng lowered his head and his expression could not be seen clearly. Seeing Du Heng silent, Russell thought that he had said too harshly, but he just repeated what Du Heng had said before. However, Russell had no good temper for this kind of bully. Shaking his head, Russell ignored him and turned around to leave. At this time, a resentful voice sounded from behind him. You just took advantage of the card restraint. Do you really think you are so strong? The next time I make a stronger card, I will make you kneel down and beg for mercy. Russell paused, but then continued to walk to the sidelines. Facts have proved that some people are born bad. So many news about teenagers bullying in the previous life have made Russell aware of this information. In other words, Russell is strong enough, otherwise if Du Heng won, the next step would probably be to threaten his classmates to isolate Russell. And who doesn't say harsh words? He also said that when he makes Goddess of the Rabbit, Kaguya Otsutsuki, he will make the Qi Ling Society kneel down and sing Conquer. Arriving at the sidelines, the classmates immediately surrounded Russell, and the chattering sound gave Russell a headache. Just when Russell was dealing with everyone, Victoria Song appeared and helped him out. Okay, classmates, stop pestering Russell. Victoria Song clapped her hands to attract everyone's attention. The class ranking is now determined. If you think your level is more than this ranking, you can challenge the target ranking next week. But you can only challenge once a week. Also, I will announce a good news next. Victoria Song paused and kept the suspense. Seeing that the students present were all whetted by her appetite and looked at her eagerly, she finally revealed the answer. Thank you, Principal, for helping our Qi class to get an opportunity to enter the secret realm for practical training. I hope everyone will cherish it. Chapter 10. It's you. Song Jin's words were like a bomb dropped into the water. Lin Yu couldn't help but ask first, Teacher, can all of us go? Song Jin smiled and nodded. Yes, this time all the students in our Qi class can enter the secret realm for training. Of course, this secret realm is also the most basic secret realm. The Qi class students present were a little disappointed when they heard this. Russell saw this scene and shook his head secretly. Being able to enter the secret realm is already a good treatment. How many senior high school students want to enter but can't, and this is completely unexpected wealth. Song Jin continued, the time is in half a month, and the secret realm type is a mountain forest type. I hope the students are ready. Teacher Song means that if conditions permit, it is best to make a vehicle type prop card, or a rideable creature card. Jiang Nangxi stood beside Russell and said to him softly. Her father is a gold level card maker, and he is naturally very clear about some of the tricks here. Although the terrain of the mountain forest type secret realm is not particularly complicated, having a ride can still save a lot of trouble. Russell glanced at Du Heng, who had been silent and gloomy since the ranking ended. He thought that Du Heng must know about this. Without paying too much attention to him, Russell nodded slightly and thanked Jiang Nangxi. Thanks for the reminder. Jiang Nangxi's mouth curled up. You're welcome. With the end of the ranking test, the group returned to the classroom and started the afternoon class. The courses of the Qi class are basically card-making skills and meditation classes, and occasionally there are a few wilderness survival skills classes. After all, anything may happen in the secret realm. The association does not want greenhouse flowers who can only do card makers, but card makers who can really go to the battlefield. This afternoon's class is meditation. But it's called class, but it's actually more like self-study. Because everyone practices the same deep blue meditation method, the teacher has nothing to teach. Closing his eyes, feeling the satisfaction brought by the slow growth of mental power, Russell slowly exhaled. Since crossing over, he found that the speed of his meditation practice was much faster than the speed of the original owner in his memory. It was unknown whether it was because this body had two souls before, or whether Russell was gifted. However, he was not prepared to explore the specific reasons. After all, this was good news, which meant that he would not be stuck by his mental power. In meditation, time passed very quickly, and in a blink of an eye, it was time to go home. See you tomorrow, Russell. Jiang Nangxi said goodbye to Russell with a smile. Russell nodded slightly. See you tomorrow. Looking at Jiang Nangxi's gradually receding back, Russell also embarked on his own journey home. Not long after returning home, there was a knock on the window. Doo-doo-doo. Russell turned his head and saw that it was a cuckoo chicken. I remember I didn't buy anything. He opened the window in confusion. The cuckoo chicken pecked at the button on the small bag on its body, and a crisp female voice came from the bag. Please ask the seller to ship in time. Russell instantly remembered the materials he posted on the trading website. If the cuckoo chicken hadn't come, he would have forgotten that he had posted 7, Corpse Ghost, Green, on the internet. He hurried back to the house to take out the materials and gave them to Guguji. Guguji picked up the materials and put them in a small bag and flew away. Watching Guguji gradually change into a small white dot on the air, Russell had some ideas about his ride. Listening to others' advice and having a full meal, Jiang Nangxi specifically told him that he was naturally going to make a riding card. However, at the moment, he only had more than 300,000 yuan with the money from selling the materials, so Russell only planned to make a green card for transportation. Opening the trading website, Russell began to look through the materials he could buy. In fact, the black iron level can already buy bronze level materials, but Russell was not going to buy such high level materials. On the one hand, his mental power level was not enough to make bronze level cards, and on the other hand, he was poor. Soon, he found the materials he wanted. Chirp bird, white-headed eagle, green, and a blank card. The 3 materials totaled 30,000 Ming Dynasty treasure notes. Soon, Guguji delivered the materials to Russell's home. Sitting at the table, Russell picked up the card drawing pen and began to draw on the blank card. Gradually, a yellow eagle appeared on the card. After the drawing was completed, Russell put the 3 materials together and used his mental power to wrap them. The next moment, He came to the mysterious story editing space again. Please start editing your story. Pigtail is large in size, with a wide wingspan, and short claws on its 3 pink toes. Its feathers are mainly brown, with black around its eyes. The feathers on the top of its head are red on both sides and yellow in the middle, and the fan-shaped tail feathers are red. At the beginning, Xiaozi and Pikachu met this Pidgeot's degenerate Pidgeot in the evergreen forest. After a hard battle, Pidgeot was captured by Xiaozi. During the journey, Xiaozi and Pidgeot defeated Team Rocket all the way and past the gym. One person and one bird experienced a lot, and finally returned to the evergreen forest. After returning to the evergreen forest, they met the Spearow tribe who were preparing to expel the Pidgeot tribe. In order to protect the Pidgeot tribe, Xiaozi's Pidgeot was severely injured by the leader of the Spearow. In desperation, Pidgeot evolved into Pidgeot and successfully defeated the Spearow tribe. After this incident, Xiaozi released Pidgeot back to the forest and promised to come back to pick him up after he was done. After the compilation was completed, Russell silently waited for the judgment of the mysterious space. The next moment, he returned to his hut, and a card depicting a brown bird floated in front of him. Success. Russell absorbed the card into his mind. Pidgeot, rank, black iron quality, green category, biological skills, none features, none introduction, reunion after 24 years, let's travel together again. Looking at the information of Pidgeot in his mind, Russell was not surprised. Because the story compiled this time was very simple and the material level was very low, he could accept the fact that there was no special ability. He was not trying to make a powerful battle card, but just to make a card that could be used as a substitute for transportation. Summoning Pidgeot, Russell carefully observed its body shape. Pidgeot is about 1.5 meters tall, which is tall enough for Russell to fly in the sky with him on his back. However, Russell did not dare to ride Pidgeot directly. After all, he was not a super newcomer. And if Pidgeot wants to ride in the city, he needs to register with the Card Artist Association. Russell was naturally prepared to register. Pidgeot is not a combat card anyway, so it doesn't matter if it is exposed. Another more important reason is that he doesn't want to listen to the welfare card broadcast on the bus every day. It's too hellish. After touching Pidgeot's head, Russell put it back in his mind. Putting on a coat, Russell went out to register with the Card Artist Association. The name of Pidgeot will be changed later, but it cannot be changed too much in one day, so if new readers see the words about Pidgeot later, please understand. Thank you. Chapter 11 Driving without a license is an illegal act. At the entrance of the association, Russell was slightly dazed as he looked at the flying-type riding creature driving license in his hand. The efficiency of the Card Maker Association was quite fast. He originally thought that he would have to go through the process for a while, but he didn't expect that he would be issued the license as soon as the registration was completed. Walking to the saddle shop next to the Card Maker Association, Russell prepared to buy a saddle. Because card makers often have strange riding creatures, the saddle shop also has a complete range of saddles. Seeing that Russell summoned Pidgeot, the owner of the saddle shop looked up and down, and then took a bird saddle from the shelf. Try it on and see the size. Russell took the saddle and put it on Pidgeot. The size was just right. Okay, this is it. Russell nodded with satisfaction. Thank you for your patronage, 5,000 yuan. The owner of the saddle shop held out 5 fingers to Russell. So expensive? Russell was stunned, but he was not prepared to bargain. Being able to open a shop next to the association and dare to sell it so expensively, either he has connections or the product is really good. After swiping the card neatly, Russell prepared to leave with a saddle. Hey, young man. The owner of the saddle shop hurriedly called Russell. Why are you in such a hurry? He walked forward and touched the saddle, and the saddle slowly turned into a card. Russell then understood why it was sold at such a high price. It turned out to be a prop card. According to the original owner's memory, prop cards can be given as gifts, but creature cards cannot. Taking the prop card, Russell slowly absorbed the card into his mind. Bird saddle, grade, black iron quality, white. It couldn't be described more simply. When he arrived outside the store, Russell touched Pidgeot's head and said, "Let me experience the feeling of flying." After saying that, Russell rode on Pidgeot. Pidgeot soared into the sky under the curious eyes of passers-by. Feeling the cold wind passing over his face, Russell thought to himself, it's really not good without a windshield. Although the riding experience was not very good, He was still satisfied with the speed of the Pidgeot. It could fly at a speed of more than 60 kilometers per hour, which was enough for daily transportation. As a Black Iron level card, he couldn't ask for more. It might not be comfortable to ride on a rainy day. Late at night, in a dark and humid underwater cave. Does the Shanghai City Cardmaster Association have any plans to explore secret realms recently? An old man with a hooked nose and a gloomy face was playing with a scale in his hand. In front of him was a middle-aged man in a black robe. The middle-aged man heard the question from the old man with the hooked nose and quickly replied, "Sir, because of the riot in the Demon's Nest, the secret exploration plan of the Shanghai Cardmaster Association has been shelved recently." After a pause, the middle-aged man continued, "But sir, I heard that several high schools in Shanghai are organizing students to conduct secret realm training." The old man with the hooked nose laughed hoarsely, By Yuming, I want to see if you can protect it this time. Insert a few chess pieces." The middle-aged man immediately responded, "Yes, sir." Amid the piercing and crazy laughter, the scale in the old man's hand gradually showed the appearance of money and treasure, and the other end was a scarlet card. Just when the two were equal, an inexplicable voice came from the void. "The deal is done." The days of school always fly fast, and time soon came to the day when Russell and his friends went to the secret realm for training. In front of the bus, Victoria Song was giving her final speech. "This training is an opportunity that Principal Z has fought hard for everyone. I hope everyone will cherish it." In the crowd, ignoring Victoria Song's long speech, Russell asked Jiang Nanxi softly, "Will it not be dangerous for us students to enter this secret realm directly?" In Russell's view, the students in the Qi class of Shanghai No. 1 Middle School are all greenhouse flowers that have not experienced actual combat. Aren't you afraid of accidents if you directly increase the intensity for them? Jiang Nanxi looked at Victoria Song and replied softly, "The secret realm that we high school students can enter has long been completely controlled by the Cardmaster Association. It is full of Black Iron level monsters." Russell nodded slightly when he heard this. This is reasonable. Normally, card makers of the same level can deal with several monsters of the same level at the same time. Of course, the premise is not to encounter elite monsters. After a pause, Jiang Nanxi continued, "And these secret realms are basically covered by surveillance. Even if there is really danger, there will be card makers from the association to rescue in time." Just as the two were talking, Victoria Song finally finished her speech. "Okay, classmates, get on the bus." The group boarded the bus one after another. As the bus started, the scenery outside the window quickly receded. Gradually, the tall buildings in the urban area of Shanghai disappeared, replaced by dense forests. This was Russell's first time out of Shanghai. In the original owner's memory, the city's periphery was basically forest. Over the years, the Ming Dynasty court also tried to expand the city's territory, but with little success. The main reason is that there are still many demons wandering in the mountains and forests, and new secret realms may appear at any time. Strangely enough, the more uninhabited the place is, the easier it is to produce secret realms. So now there are countless secret realms of all sizes distributed in several oceans. Except for some strong people who are capable of ocean voyages, the ocean trade that was supposed to appear has long since disappeared. The bus gradually drove to a steel base. A soldier with a gun stopped the bus. "Confidential facilities ahead, stop." Song Jin also got off the bus with the documents wholesaled by the Cardmaster Association to communicate. After the gate guard repeatedly confirmed that the documents were fine, he sent a message to the sentry box behind. "No problem, let them go." The bus slowly drove into the base. The leaders in the base had been waiting for a long time. "You are the students of Shanghai No. 1 Middle School arranged by President Ma." The leader greeted Song Jin with a smile. Song Jin also smiled and responded, "Yes, I will trouble you today." The leader waved his hands repeatedly after hearing this. How dare he delay the things that President Ma personally ordered? No trouble, we are all serving the country. Then, he turned to the people around him and ordered, "You take these little classmates to the secret realm." Seeing this, Song Jin turned around and gave the final instructions to the students in the Qi class. "Go, classmates, be sure to pay attention to safety." Russell followed everyone to a huge square. In the center of the square stood a space gate emitting silver-white light. The leading staff smiled and introduced to everyone, "Students, this is the first time to see the secret realm space gate. Now please go in order. We have arranged card makers to wait in the secret realm." Hearing this, the students of the Qi class entered the space gate one after another. Russell followed the crowd through the space gate. In a blink of an eye, he had arrived at the foot of a mountain. In front of him were two card makers in black uniforms. The leader smiled at the students of the Qi class of Shanghai No. 1 Middle School and said, "Welcome to the secret realm, 1,000 Foot. Maybe you are not familiar with this secret realm. The reason why it is called 1,000 Foot is because there was a powerful centipede-like demon in this secret realm before. But please rest assured, demons above the black iron level have been cleared by the association. After receiving the communication equipment, you can move freely." Chapter 12, 1,000 Feet. Hearing that he could move freely, Russell did not hesitate and summoned Pidgeot. Seeing Pidgeot, Jiang Naxi was surprised. "You made a second creature card so quickly." She thought Russell would make a vehicle-type prop card at most. Russell shook his head slightly, his expression calm. "It's just a green card, nothing special." Jiang Naxi was speechless when she heard Russell's Versailles. You know how many people can only make a black iron level green card in their lifetime? Thinking of this, she smiled slightly. "The forest-type secret realm is just right for your bird-type mount. In fact, it should be said that flying mounts can adapt to most secret realms." At this time, the students on the side also cast envious eyes. "It's worthy of being Russell. I also want to ride a bird. My family only got me a mountain bike this time. You are still lucky. I have nothing. I can only rely on my legs." Hearing the discussion of his classmates, Russell sighed secretly. If it weren't for Jiang Naxi's reminder, he probably wouldn't have thought of making a rideable card. In the crowd, Du Heng stared at Russell, his eyes full of jealousy and unwillingness. "Russell again, Russell again, Russell every time, Russell is so perfect." He thought bitterly in his heart, "If I can't sneak, I'll be dead if I get caught." Russell seemed to notice Du Heng's gaze and turned to look at him. Du Heng saw Russell looking at him, and quickly turned his head away, pretending to be indifferent. Russell couldn't help but sneer, bullying the weak and fearing the strong. He gave Du Heng the third label. Jiang Naxi heard Russell's laughter and couldn't help but wonder, "What's wrong? What's so funny?" Russell waved his hand and said, "Nothing, I just saw a clown." After speaking, without waiting for Jiang Naxi to react, Russell sat on the Pidgeot and flew into the sky. Seeing Russell leave, the Qi class students presented not stay and left the place one after another. The leading staff member looked at Russell, who gradually turned into a small black dot, and said with emotion, "It seems that a good seedling has emerged from Shanghai No. 1 Middle School this time. By the way, Lao Wang, didn't you take leave to take care of your mother?" The card maker called Lao Wang was silent for a while, then smiled bitterly and said, "People like us who have worked hard for half a lifetime to become black iron level card makers can't save much money all year round. And my mother's illness is so short of money, and I have no money if I don't go to work. For secret realms like this that have been completely controlled by the Card Maker Association, the people sent to look after them are generally retired card makers who have no hope of being promoted to black iron level. After all, it is impossible to let high-level card makers come to such a place to waste their lives." The leader sighed silently and patted Lao Wang on the shoulder. "Let's not talk about these unhappy things, let's go back to the monitoring room. I hope nothing happens today." Russell rode Pidgeot and quickly arrived at the halfway point of the mountain. In mid-air, Russell carefully thought about his next goal. "There is still half a month before the joint entrance exam for the 4 schools. I still need to get more materials for this secret realm training. Otherwise, it may be a bit difficult to rely on Yunai alone. Although Luosu has become the first in Shanghai No. 1 Middle School, there are so many heroes in the world. He will not be as arrogant as Du Heng to think that he is the best in the world." Maybe when he made the first card, Luosu just thought it was fun and to pay off the loan. But after experiencing the Demon Nest riot, he deeply felt that this is a dangerous world. If Master Bai Yuming was not in Shanghai that day, he dared not think about what tragedy would happen in the city, so now Luosu is extremely eager for power. Putting away the complicated thoughts in his heart, Luosu began to look at the environment of the forest under his feet. The dark trees supported the huge canopy, blocking his sight, making him unable to see the specific situation. In desperation, Luosu could only control Pidgeot to land on the ground. Putting away Pidgeot, Luosu summoned Jiguo Yunai. "Yui, be careful, it's very dangerous here," Luosu whispered to Jiguo Yunai. Upon hearing this, Jiguo Yunai nodded slightly and put his right hand on the knife at his waist. ensuring that he could draw the samurai sword at any time in case of danger. Crack! The footsteps of the two stepped on the leaves that fell on the ground. Snap! Suddenly, Jigowo Yuanai drew out his knife and stopped Russell's movement with the back of the knife. Russell was not a fool. He immediately realized that Jigowo Yuanai had discovered the enemy. He immediately summoned Pidgeot and flew into the air. The thick leaves on the ground were now arched by a mysterious long creature. Jigowo Yuanai must have stared at the movement of the mysterious creature. Hiss! Suddenly, a hideous mouthpart suddenly jumped out from the leaves on the ground. But how could Jigowo Yuanai be hit by such a simple attack? He slightly moved his body sideways to avoid the bite of the mouthparts. The blade in his hand turned red, and he chopped down fiercely from top to bottom, easily cutting the unknown creature in two. At this time, Russell in midair could see clearly that the creature attacking the two was a slender black centipede. Just as Russell was about to fall to the ground to condense the materials, he suddenly found several traces arched in the leaves. Be careful, Yoriichi, there are still monsters. Russell hurriedly reminded Yoriichi Tsugikuni. The next moment, 4 dark figures rushed towards Yoriichi Tsugikuni. But how could this be difficult for Yoriichi Tsugikuni, who opened the transparent world? In his eyes, the speed of several centipedes was pitifully slow. Sun-breathing type 2, Biriton. Yoriichi Tsugikuni looked calm, and the red slash swept away the leaves on the ground, and the centipede in midair was instantly divided into pieces of different sizes. The purple blood dripped onto the ground, making a slight sizzling sound. Russell hovered in the air. He was not in a hurry to go down at this moment. Who knows if there are any remaining demons? After a long time, seeing that there was indeed no movement on the ground, Russell slowly landed beside Jigowo Yuanai. As expected of Yuanai, you are so strong. Russell smiled and patted Jigowo Yuanai's arm. Jigowo Yuanai heard that, and a smile appeared on his face, which had always been calm. Russell couldn't help but be a little surprised. This was the first time he saw Jigowo Yuanai show a different expression, so Yuanai can smile. After saying this, Russell looked again and Jigowo Yuanai turned back to his expressionless look. Scratching his head, Russell didn't bother whether he had seen it wrong. He turned around and slowly wrapped his mental power around the centipede corpse on the ground. As Russell's mental power contracted, the centipede corpse slowly condensed into 5 materials. Poisonous centipede, green. A man can't get rich without unexpected wealth, and a horse can't get fat without wild grass. Russell muttered to himself. It has only been a short time since he entered the secret realm, but he has already harvested 5 pieces of black iron level green materials. This is just the lowest level, small secret realm that has been controlled by the association. Russell doesn't even dare to think about changing to a large, high-level secret realm. No wonder high-level card makers are willing to accept the association's dispatch to explore the secret realm, even though they know there are dangers in the secret realm. It seems that only green materials should be produced on the mountainside. I wonder what's on the top of the mountain. Russell thought secretly. Chapter 13, Centipede. Riding on Pidgeot, Russell soon reached the top of the mountain. The structure of this mountain is very strange. The top of the mountain is not an empty platform, but a cave entrance. If it were a cave that had not been cleaned before, the dark environment would be very dangerous. However, the cave has been equipped with many lighting facilities by the association. It cannot be said to be very bright, but it is not like going blind. After thinking for a while at the entrance of the cave, Russell decided to enter the cave to explore. The card maker of the association in the secret realm said that there would be no monsters above the black iron level, so there shouldn't be any mistakes. Summoning Yoriichi Tsugikuni, the two walked into the cave side by side. In the monitoring room, the captain of the card makers ate biscuits and watched the monitor. Young people nowadays are so brave. They dare to go in and explore? I remember correctly that there is a centipede in the cave, right? The captain really admired Russell's courage. If he were his age, he would definitely not dare to go in and explore. Seeing that no one responded, the captain turned his head strangely and looked at Lao Wang, who was in a daze. Lao Wang? Lao Wang. Seeing that Lao Wang still did not respond, the captain asked with a little concern, "Are you not feeling well? Do you want to go back and rest for a while? I always feel that you are weird today." Lao Wang seemed not to hear the captain's call, and was still staring at the screen. After a long time, he woke up as if from a dream. No, I was just thinking about my mother. The captain shook his head and didn't say much. Let's get ready first. If this little classmate can't handle it, we will need to rescue him. Lao Wen turned back to the dazed look just now. The captain thought about it and swallowed the comforting words that were about to come out of his mouth. Everyone is here to take care of the elderly, what's there to say? Tap tap tap, the footsteps of Russell and Yoriichi echoed in the empty cave. Strange, why didn't we encounter any monsters? Russell was a little strange at this time. He had been in the cave for a while, and he and Yoriichi hadn't seen any monsters, let alone monsters, or even monster hair. Just when Russell was wondering why there were no monsters, he faintly smelled a fishy smell. Russell couldn't help but turn his head to look at Yoriichi. Yuchi, do you smell anything? Yoriichi nodded. He also smelled a strange smell. Seeing Yoriichi doing the same, Russell frowned with a serious expression. Be careful, Yuchi, there may be a more powerful demon in here. What kind of situation would cause an area to have no demons? Naturally, there is a powerful existence in this area that crushes other demons. The two of them couldn't help but restrain their steps and continue to walk forward slowly. After a long time, the two came to an open field. Russell looked at the scene in front of him in shock, muttering to himself, this is 1,000-foot. What appeared in front of the two was a centipede that was nearly 100 meters long, and its huge body reflected a dark luster. However, this centipede had been cut in half and turned into a corpse. Before the two of them could sigh, a rustling sound under the corpse attracted their attention. That is. Russell looked closely. It was a centipede about 8 or 9 meters long. Can we solve it, Yoriichi? Russell asked Yoriichi for his opinion. If not, we will leave now. Russell was not a fool. What else could he do if he couldn't win in this situation but run away? But Yoriichi just silently drew out the long knife in his hand. Russell naturally understood what he meant. Then I'll leave it to you. After thinking for a while, Russell summoned Pidgeot again. Touching Pidgeot's bird head, Russell said, you also go up to help Yoriichi. Although Pidgeot is just a green card, birds naturally have some restraint on centipedes, which can always play a role. Pidgeot gently arched Russell's hand, and then flew towards the giant centipede first. The centipede that was originally cruising under the corpse was also attracted by the flying Pidgeot. Hiss. The centipede moved forward with the front half of its body, and a piercing cry came out of its mouth parts, and then it suddenly jumped from the ground to Pidgeot. Pidgeot turned flexibly and dodged the centipede's attack. The centipede fell from midair to the ground, and Tsugikuni Yoriichi had been waiting for a long time below it. The burning flames rose from the ground and attacked the centipede. But the centipede was an elite monster, so it was not so easy to deal with. I don't know where the centipede got the strength from, but it suddenly rotated in midair and faced Yoriichi's blade with its hard carapace. Swish! Although it did not completely block Yoriichi's attack, it also avoided the fate of being cut in half like its predecessor. The centipede fell heavily to the ground, and with its hideous mouth parts, it spit out a burst of purple poisonous mist. If Yoriichi was alone, I'm afraid this scene would be a bit embarrassing. But fortunately, there was Pidgeot. Yoriichi grabbed one of Pidgeot's ankles with one hand and was taken up, easily avoiding the attack of the poisonous mist. Sun-breathing land type, burning bones in sunshine. The red blade wrapped in flames fell from the sky, and the rotating flames instantly enveloped the centipede on the ground. The centipede made a shrill cry as it burned in the flames. Pidgeot and Yoriichi slowly landed beside Russell, and the two of them and the bird quietly watched the giant centipede struggling painfully on the ground. After a long time, the centipede finally stopped moving. Pidgeot, please try it again. Russell maintained basic caution. He didn't want to overturn in such a sure-win situation. Sure enough, when Pidgeot approached the centipede, which had been motionless, suddenly pounced on Pidgeot. Unfortunately, it was not strong enough and fell to the ground without touching Pidgeot. After that, Pidgeot poked blood holes in it without any reaction. At this moment, Russell approached the centipede corpse on the ground with confidence and began to condense the material. Black iron grade, centipede, purple. Looking at the materials in his hand, Russell couldn't help but sigh in his heart. Fortunately, Jiang Nangxi reminded him to make a writing card, otherwise he wouldn't have thought of making a Pidgeot. If there was no Pidgeot, although Yunai could also kill the centipede, it might not be so easy. Wow, this little classmate is good. In the monitoring room, the captain watched Russell kill the centipede, and exclaimed, Old Wang, you really should have seen it. Just when the captain was wondering why Old Wang was silent again, a heavy gasp came from behind the captain. He, the captain, hurriedly wanted to turn his head to check the situation, but it was too late. A scarlet claw had pierced his chest. Then, he saw his vision constantly spinning. Old Wang? Is that my corpse? With the sound of a heavy object falling to the ground, a scarlet figure violently pushed open the door of the monitoring room. The scarlet figure sniffed the air and suddenly rushed in one direction. No one knew about the huge changes that took place in the monitoring room. Only the blood that gradually flowed out of the monitoring room recorded the tragedy. Chapter 14 Ugly. On the other side, Jiang Nangxi and the three-tailed fox walked quietly in the dark woods. Gradually, the three-tailed fox stopped, and its small nose kept moving in the air. Noticing the three-tailed fox's strangeness, Jiang Nangxi couldn't help but stop. What's wrong? The three-tailed fox did not answer her doubts immediately, but continued to sniff something in the air. After a long time, it came to Jiang Nangxi's feet. One fox paw pulled her trouser legs, and the other pointed in a direction. Jiang Nangxi was a little confused. If it was an ordinary demon, the three-tailed fox would not be so serious. It has been a while since the man and the fox entered the mountain. During this period, Jiang Nangxi also relied on the three-tailed fox to kill several centipede demons. Squatting down, Jiang Nangxi touched the three-tailed fox's head. Is there an elite demon over there? The three-tailed fox shook its head when it heard Jiang Nangxi's question, and then gestured anxiously. Jiang Nangxi was stunned when she saw the three-tailed fox's performance. If it wasn't an elite demon, then what could it be? As she thought about it, Jiang Nangxi's expression gradually became serious. Is someone injured? Seeing that Jiang Nangxi gave the correct answer, the three-tailed fox quickly nodded his head. Jiang Nangxi immediately stood up and calmly ordered, "Three-tailed fox, you lead the way." Following the three-tailed fox's lead, Jiang Nangxi kept thinking along the way. According to what she knew from her father, the secret realms controlled by the association are generally full of surveillance. For high school students like them who come here for practical training, the two card makers who appear at the entrance of the secret realm must be watching them the whole time. If someone is injured according to the three-tailed fox's judgment, but no one comes to rescue her, she feels that something is wrong. Before she can think too much, she has already come to the source of the blood that the three-tailed fox smelled. She saw a tree that was as thick as a man's arms being cut off by an unknown weapon, and the thick crown of the tree fell diagonally to the ground. Lin Yu, the classmate who Russell had the first battle in the ranking test, fell to the ground without knowing whether he was dead or alive. Jiang Nangxi walked quickly to Lin Yu and called softly, "Lin Yu." Lin Yu, seeing that Lin Yu did not respond, Jiang Nangxi slowly reached out and felt his breath. Fortunately, he is still alive. Feeling Lin Yu's slight breath hitting his fingers, Jiang Nangxi couldn't help but breathe a sigh of relief. But because she didn't know where Lin Yu was injured, Jiang Nangxi didn't dare to move his body rashly. Standing up, Jiang Nangxi looked solemn. What happened? In her impression, Lin Yu was the strongest classmate in the class except for Russell, Du Heng and her. Those centipedes could not hurt him like this. And where are the card makers of the association in the secret realm? Why didn't anyone come? It would be great if Russell was here. Jiang Nangxi thought to himself. Russell's Pidgeot was too convenient to deal with this situation. He could leave Jigoku Yuchi behind and ride Pidgeot to ask for help. Unfortunately, Jiang Nangxi didn't have a flying mount. If she left the three-tailed fox here to guard Lin Yu, it would be too dangerous for her to go for help alone. Just as Jiang Nangxi was thinking about a solution, hurried footsteps were heard in the dark woods in front of her. Who? Jiang Nangxi shouted with concentration. The three-tailed fox also made an attacking gesture. Under the gaze of the man and the fox, a panicked figure staggered out of the woods. Du Heng. Jiang Nangxi couldn't help but let down her guard when she saw the person coming, but when she saw Du Heng's torn clothes and embarrassed appearance, she had new doubts. Du Heng, what happened? Why did you become like this? Du Heng gasped for breath and answered intermittently, "Run quickly, there is a monster." Jiang Nangxi couldn't help but frown when she heard it. There is a monster? What will happen to Lin Yu if we run away? Lin Yu's life or death is none of my business. Du Heng thought irritably in his heart, but he replied, "This monster is not even a match for my green zombie. If you want to stay and die, I won't accompany you." The reason why Du Heng said this was because his green zombie had died and was in a cooling state. If Jiang Nangxi didn't go with him, he couldn't go far alone in this environment. But Jiang Nangxi didn't know what he was thinking, and just said seriously, "I won't leave. I will stay here to guard Lin Yu and wait for rescue." Jiang Nengxi grew up under the education of her father, a gold-level card maker. She couldn't abandon her classmates. Du Heng gritted his teeth. Are you going to give up your life for a waste? Jiang Nengxi shook her head and didn't answer Du Heng's question. She just said, if you want to leave, you can go alone. This stupid woman. If I could leave, would I still be here to persuade you? Exclamation mark. Du Heng cursed in his heart. At this moment, a shrill roar came from the woods behind Du Heng. Du Heng's legs went limp and he fell to the ground, but in order to survive, he still used his hands and feet to crawl to Jiang Nengxi's side. Jiang Nengxi didn't care about Du Heng's ugly appearance, but looked at the dark woods with a cautious face. With heavy breathing, the monster Du Heng mentioned gradually appeared in front of Jiang Nengxi. The monster was wrapped in scarlet flesh and blood, and a pair of cold blades on its bloody hands pierced people's eyes. Seeing the monster, the three-tailed fox immediately launched an illusion. Unfortunately, it was useless. It was obvious that the monster on the opposite side was a being without mind and could not be affected by the lowest level of illusion. Jiang Nengxi couldn't help but look ugly when she saw this situation. After several battles, the disadvantages of the three-tailed fox were exposed more and more. If she could get out alive this time, she must find a way to solve this problem. But the monster didn't allow her to think too much and attacked first. The scarlet figure attacked the three-tailed fox with a shrill sound, and the sharp claws of its left hand pierced the three-tailed fox's face with a cold light. Fortunately, the three-tailed fox dodged the monster's attack with a clever leap. But it was also the leap that created a fatal flaw for it. The sharp claws of the monster's right hand dragged on the ground, leaving 3 deep cuts on the soil, and swept over the three-tailed fox from bottom to top. The three-tailed fox was broken. It only lasted for a face-to-face encounter. Jiang Nengxi was also unlucky. She encountered enemies that were not controlled by the three-tailed fox's illusion several times. According to common sense, the three-tailed fox should not be so weak. But there is no if in reality. Just as Jiang Nengxi was shocked by the death of the three-tailed fox, a strong force came from behind her and pushed her towards the monster. Jiang Nengxi looked back in surprise. It was Du Heng. Du Heng's face was crazy at this time, and he murmured, I can't die, I want to become a hall-level card maker. Yes, I want to become a hall-level card maker and surpass Russell. Jiang Nengxi, I will remember you. When I become a hall-level card maker, I will help you get revenge. Du Heng turned around and prepared to run away. Seeing Du Heng's crazy look at this moment, Jiang Nengxi couldn't help but close her eyes in despair. Just as she was waiting for her death, a calm voice came from midair. It's so ugly, Du Heng. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 15, Clown. The person who came was naturally Russell. After coming out of the cave, due to the remaining breath of the centipede in the cave, there were no other centipede monsters on the top of the mountain. Therefore, Russell could only return to the middle of the mountain to continue to brush materials. But when he just returned to the middle of the mountain, he saw a tree falling in the distance in midair. If Russell was in the woods, he might not be able to find out what was happening in the distance. When he rode Pidgeot to the scene, he saw Du Heng pushing Jiang Nengxi out. But now is not the time to talk nonsense. The monster has already attacked Jiang Nengxi, who fell to the ground. Yuchi. Russell's eyes condensed and released Jigao Yuchi. Ding 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 ding. Jigao Yuchi's samurai sword quickly blocked the monster's claws. At this time, Russell had time to look at Du Heng. Du Heng, it's fine if you don't save them, but you actually tried to let Jiang Nengxi help you block the knife? Russell asked with a frown. In his opinion, even if Du Heng ran away, it would be excusable, but he should never kill his classmates. Du Heng couldn't help but get hysterical when he heard what Russell said. It's their honor to die for me, the future hall-level card maker. Russell, don't mind your own business. Russell sighed, and ignored the crazy Du Heng. He slowly landed beside Jiang Nengxi and pulled her up. Are you okay? Jiang Nengxi shook her head. She was not hurt except that she was pushed to the ground by Du Heng. Thinking of Du Heng, Jiang Nengxi turned around and looked at him coldly. I will tell my father what happened here. Russell didn't say much when he heard it. How to deal with Du Heng was Jiang Nengxi's business, and if it were him, Du Heng's fate would probably not be too good. When Du Heng heard what Jiang Nangxi said, he felt like he was poured with a basin of cold water. His legs softened and he knelt on the ground. Jiang Nangxi, I was wrong. I kowtowed to you. Don't tell your father. As he said that, Du Heng kowtowed on the ground. Du Heng's family is just an ordinary well-off family, and Jiang Nangxi's father is a gold-level card maker of the association. If Jiang Nangxi tells her father what happened here, Du Heng's end may not be too good. You know, the Card Maker Association has expressly prohibited registered card makers from killing each other. Jiang Nangxi did not react at all, but turned back to continue looking at the field. At this moment, Jiguo Yuanai and the monster were in a state of confrontation, and neither dared to act rashly. But in the end, the monster lost its mind and lost its patience, and rushed towards Jiguo Yuanai first. So fast. Russell on the sidelines looked solemn. The monster in front of him was the strongest monster he had seen since he came to this world. Jiguo Yuanai dodged the monster's attack, but his forearm was still cut with several bloody wounds. Yuai, use the stripes. Russell frowned and said. There is no time to drag it on. At the moment, Lin Yu's situation on the ground is obviously not very good. The longer it drags on, the more dangerous it will be. Jiguo Yuanai took a deep breath when he heard the words, and the reddish-brown stripes on his head seemed to expand a little. Feeling the sudden increase in mental power consumption, Russell's face turned pale. Fortunately, this was within his tolerance. The next moment, Jiguo Yuanai disappeared from the spot, and when he reappeared, he had already arrived in front of the monster. The monster obviously did not react to Jiguo Yuanai's sudden increase in speed. The blade carried a brilliant flame and instantly slashed across the monster's body. The monster froze in place, motionless. Wow! The next moment, the monster was divided into several pieces. The largest upper body that remained fell to the ground, stirring up a cloud of dust. Jiang Nangxi looked at this scene in shock, thinking secretly in his heart, is this the true strength of Russell's card? Jiguo Yuanai's sudden outburst made Jiang Nangxi realize that Russell had not used all his strength in the previous ranking test. At this moment, Du Heng was full of jealousy and resentment. Why? It's him again, every time. Du Heng couldn't accept it. Russell's current performance showed that he had not used all his strength in the battle with him a few days ago, which made his harsh words seem a bit like a clown. Although in Russell's opinion, Du Heng looked like a clown. Regardless of what the two thought, Russell frowned and came to Jiguo Yuanai. At this time, the flesh and blood entangled on the monster's body was slowly dissipating. The flesh and blood covering the face also slowly faded, revealing the familiar cheeks under the flesh and blood. Seeing the appearance under the flesh and blood clearly, Russell's pupils suddenly shrank. It was Lao Wang that the key class students saw when they entered the secret realm. Silently moving his body to block the sight of the two people behind him, Russell asked softly, "How did you become like this?" At the last moment of his life, Lao Wang seemed to have regained some reason. He kept coughing up blood from his mouth, and said intermittently, "I don't want to. I don't want to die. My mother is still waiting for me in the hospital." Tears kept sliding down Lao Wang's broken cheeks. "Save me, I am sorry," Captain begged. Before he finished speaking, Lao Wang gradually dissipated into the air like a dead card. All that was left was a card that flashed scarlet red. Seeing Lao Wang's performance, Russell frowned. Qi Ling Wei. Silently keeping this information in mind, Russell bent down and picked up the card on the ground. Black iron grade, blood demon, gold. Russell was shocked when he saw the material in his hand. He thought that Lao Wang left behind his card, but he didn't expect it to be something like the material condensed after the demon died. And it was actually golden. Russell had never seen golden materials before. Even on the trading website, black iron grade golden materials were rare. Just when Russell was still thinking about what Lao Wang said, Jiang Nangxi came up. "What's wrong? What did this demon just say?" Thanks to her father, Jiang Nangxi knew that some demons in the secret realm were very intelligent, and some could even speak human language. At this time, she also regarded Lao Wang as one of those highly intelligent demons. Luo Su was silent for a moment, and finally decided not to tell Jiang Nangxi about his discovery. "Nothing, just let me kill him quickly." Then, Luo Su changed the subject and said, "There should be monitoring stations in this kind of secret realm. I will go to the monitoring station to check the situation first, and then go out for help. By the way, Yuan Ai will stay here to watch over you." Jiang Nangxi nodded. She thought Luo Su was worried about the centipede monster. But what she didn't know was that Luo Su was indeed worried about the centipede monster on the one hand, but on the other hand, Du Heng seemed to be in a state of disarray after Jiang Naxi said that he would tell his father what happened here. Luo Su naturally would not underestimate the human heart. For a madman like this, who knows if he will lose his mind and do something after he leaves? Summoning Pidgeot, Luo Su quickly rushed to the foot of the mountain. When he arrived at the monitoring station, Luo Su finally understood why Lao Wang said that he was sorry for the captain. What appeared in front of him was a headless corpse with a big hole in the chest. Without time to think too much, Luo Su left the secret realm immediately. Chapter 16, I was scared when shit hit me. The entrance to the secret realm in the base was naturally guarded by the association card makers. When they saw Russell coming out of the secret realm, they were stunned. Did the secret realm training end so quickly? Under their gaze, Russell ran to them quickly and said 3 words with a serious face. Something happened. Soon, Victoria Song and the base leaders rushed here after learning the situation. When Victoria Song heard that Russell had come out of the secret realm early, she couldn't believe it. In her opinion, even if other students came out, Russell might not come out. Therefore, when she saw that Russell was safe and sound, Victoria Song couldn't help but feel relieved, but immediately asked, what happened? Russell immediately recounted what happened in the secret realm. However, there was obviously something strange about this matter. In addition to Victoria Song and the base leaders, there were many ordinary association card makers present. Although Russell only speculated that this matter was related to the Qi Ling Society, in order to guard against possible spies, he still concealed the last part about Lao Wang, and only said that an unknown demon attacked, resulting in the death of the association card maker in the secret realm. The leader of the base surnamed Gu was shocked when he heard this. You know, the secret realm is full of surveillance cameras. It is basically impossible to produce a powerful demon that is out of control under surveillance. However, he did not refute Russell's words. The little classmate in front of him obviously could not tell such a lie that would be exposed at a touch, so he just asked the surrounding card makers to quickly enter the secret realm for rescue. Seeing that the surrounding card makers had already entered the secret realm, Russell thought for a moment and decided to tell Song Jin and the base leader what happened last. Teacher Song, Director Gu, in fact, it was not the demons in the secret realm that attacked us, but a card maker stationed in the secret realm. The mood of the leader surnamed Gu, who had just calmed down, was instantly disturbed by Russell's words, but after all, he was a leader of a place, and instantly suppressed the national curse that almost blurted out, and his expression gradually became serious. Little classmate, you have to have evidence when you speak. Russell shook his head. Not only did he have no evidence, but when he was in the secret realm, he also deliberately used his body to block the surveillance camera from shooting Lao Wang's face. I have no evidence, but... As he said, Russell took out the blood demon, gold, from his pocket. I don't think this material will be produced in the 1,000-foot secret realm. Looking at the blood demon, gold, in Russell's hand, Director Gu's face became more and more ugly. Taking a deep breath, Director Gu forced himself to control his emotions and said with a complicated look, I need to report the situation here to my superiors. Teacher Song, you and this student Luo, please wait here for a while. After saying that, Director Gu hurriedly left the entrance to the secret realm. Soon, students from the key class were brought out by the association's card makers one after another. At this time, they were a little confused, because only an hour had passed since they started exploring the secret realm. It's over? I just got a material. You're lucky. I was halfway up the mountain when they told me it was over. Victoria Song clapped her hands with a smile, stopping the students' discussions. Okay, students, I believe everyone has experienced the dangers in the secret realm. This training ends here. Now, please go back to the bus and wait patiently. Victoria Song naturally would not explain to the students what happened. According to what Russell said, this matter was obviously premeditated, and the less these students knew, the better. After a while, Jiang Naxi and Du Heng were also brought out, and with them was Lin Yu, who was carried on a stretcher and unconscious. Fortunately, according to the card maker who was carrying Lin Yu, although Lin Yu was seriously injured, he was not in danger of life, and he would soon recover in this world with card makers. Seeing Lin Yu being slowly carried away, when Song Jin was about to tell Jiang Naxi and Du Heng to return to the bus, Du Heng suddenly said to Song Jin with a pale face, I'm sorry, Teacher Song, I was so scared just now that I accidentally pushed Jiang Nangxi. Russell, who was standing by, couldn't help but sneer in his heart. You're scared when something happens. Song Jin was also confused by Du Heng's incoherent words at this moment. At this time, Jiang Nangxi spoke out at the right time to explain the situation in the secret realm just now. Hearing this, Song Jin's face showed a serious expression. I will tell Principal Z about this matter, and I will definitely give you an explanation. Then, Song Jin turned to look at Du Heng and said sternly, Du Heng, you go back to the bus now, and I will talk to your parents when we get back to school. You know, the education of each school is to repeatedly emphasize that you cannot fight with the card makers of the same team, let alone let other card makers take the knife for you. Du Heng returned to the bus in a daze. Due to his age, it is impossible for him to continue studying in Shanghai No. 1 Middle School. It is even unknown whether there is any school willing to accept him. But the more serious punishment stops here. At most, he will be deprived of his card-making ability after the results come out and be under strict supervision. Russell had no sympathy for this. Everything Du Heng has now is what he deserves. It is all his own fault. At this time, Director Gu hurried back. Student Luo, Master Bai wants to see you. Master Bai. Yan Luo, Bai Yuming, Master Bai. On the other side, on the top floor of the Shanghai Card Master Association building, a white-haired old man was talking to a middle-aged man with a goatee. The old man sighed and asked the middle-aged man, I heard that several high schools had accidents while exploring the secret realm. The middle-aged man nodded with a grim expression when he heard it. A lot of students were injured and killed, and we don't know who did it yet. Who else could it be except the Qi Ling Society and the Gyi sect? The old man's face was calm. He had already guessed the perpetrators of the attack. I just don't know how they did it. Just as the middle-aged man opened his mouth to speak, a phone ring interrupted him. Sorry, Master Bai, I have to take a call first. The old man was naturally Bai Yuming, and Bai Yuming stretched out his hand to motion for him to do as he pleased. Hello. What? I see. Let this student wait there for a while. After hanging up the phone, the middle-aged man said with a serious expression, Master Bai, there's a clue. A student from Shanghai No. 1 Middle School successfully killed the attacker. And he also saw the attacker's true appearance. He is the card maker stationed in the secret realm by our association. Bai Yuming's old face gradually showed a smile when he heard this. It seems that our Daming has successors. Let this student come here now. Okay, I'll ask them to bring the person over. Chapter 17 Review. Russell sat in the car sent by the Kaianzu secret realm base, looking at the scenery outside the window. Director Gu was sitting next to him. If someone told Russell that he could meet Bai Yuming during this secret realm training, he would never believe it. You have to know that there are only 3 master card makers in the Ming dynasty, among which, Yan Luo, Bai Yuming is mainly stationed in coastal cities, responsible for preventing riots in the maritime secret realm. Many people spend countless money to meet such a person who stands at the top of the Ming dynasty. Now Russell was able to get an interview opportunity just by killing a small rebellious black iron level card maker, which shows that this matter is very complicated. Director Gu, who was standing by, saw that Russell was frowning and thought that he was nervous because he was about to meet Bai Yuming. He couldn't help but say, Student Luo, don't be nervous. You have made a great contribution this time. Master Bai must want to meet you, a young hero. Director Gu's words pulled Russell out of his thoughts. He smiled and said, Thank you, Director Gu. Soon, the car arrived at the headquarters of the Shanghai Card Master Association. Director Gu took Russell to an elevator that was obviously used exclusively for high-level employees. President Yan had already instructed you to go up directly before we came. As he said that, he swiped his ID card and the elevator opened. Russell took a deep breath and stepped into the elevator. The elevator door slowly closed and then rose rapidly. Soon, the elevator reached the top floor. Ding dong. As the elevator door opened, the president's office on the top floor appeared in front of Russell. The most eye-catching thing was naturally the huge floor-to-ceiling window. But Russell didn't have time to look at the scenery outside the window now. He respectfully greeted the white-haired old man and the middle-aged man with a goatee in the president's office. Master Bai, President Yan, hello, I am Russell. The white-haired old man was naturally Yan Luo, Bai Yuming. Unlike his murderous title, Bai Yuming was unexpectedly easygoing. Student Luo, don't be nervous, sit down. Russell sat down obediently, but only half of his butt was wet. The middle-aged man with a goatee couldn't help but smile when he saw this. Student Luo, thanks to you this time, otherwise it would take us some time to find out the result. This person was naturally Yan Wenlei, the president of the Shanghai City Card Maker Association. Yan Wen was right. Although the association had not found any clues for the time being, it would definitely be able to find out the truth in the end. After all, there were only a few people who entered the secret realm. After the other high schools were attacked, the attackers disappeared, but with the information of the card makers stationed in the secret realm, they could quickly find out who was missing. Russell's evidence only accelerated the progress. Thinking of this, he couldn't help but ask, then I wonder why Master Bai and President Yan asked me to come. Bai Yuming heard Russell's doubts and his face gradually became serious. Student Luo, I heard that you obtained a material after the attacker died. Russell was stunned. Just for this? But he still took out a material directly. Russell didn't think that a master card maker would embezzle his black iron level material, even if it was of gold quality. This is the material condensed after the attacker died. Handing the material to Bai Yuming, Russell quietly waited for the other party's judgment. Almost at the moment of taking the material, Bai Yuming sighed. Having been stationed on the coastal defense line for a long time, he naturally recognized the origin of this material. It is indeed the material produced by the Demon Nest. It can be confirmed that it was done by the Qi Ling Society. Hearing about the Qi Ling Society, Russell instantly thought of the words that Lao Wen could not finish before he died. He couldn't help but say, Master Bai, President Yan, the attacker said Qi before he died, but he disappeared before he finished speaking. Yan Wenlei and Bai Yuming looked at each other, and then said, Student Luo, you should keep this discovery in your heart and don't tell anyone else. The reason why Yan Wenlei said this was because he was afraid that Russell was so young and would talk nonsense after leaving them. The association didn't care, but they were mainly worried about Russell's personal safety. However, their worries were unnecessary. Russell was not an ordinary high school student, otherwise he would not have covered him up when he saw Lao Wang's face clearly. He immediately nodded solemnly, I know, thank you Master Bai and President Yan for your concern, I won't say anything nonsense. Yan Wenlei and Bai Yuming couldn't help but smile when they heard this. Russell's performance could be said to be beyond their expectations. Just when Yan Wenlei wanted to say something to encourage Russell, the elevator rang again. A young man holding a document came out. He walked quickly to Yan Wenlei and said softly, President Yan, the information you asked me to check is all here. Seeing Yan Wenlei nodded slightly, the young man saluted the two and left. Yan Wenlei flipped through the documents in his hand, his brows gradually squeezed together, and then he handed the documents to Bai Yuming. Mr. Bai, take a look. Each secret realm that had an accident this time has a stationed card maker who applied temporarily. Bai Yuming took the document and looked at it carefully. Soon, he had the answer in his heart. Bai Yuming sighed and said with some melancholy, I was wondering when the Qi Ling Society had so many pawns, but now it's not surprising. Look, aren't these suspicious ones all short of money without exception? Those with sick mothers and those who owe gambling debts. President Yan was stunned when he heard Bai Yuming's words. Did they betray the association just for money? Bai Yuming shook his head when he heard it. They probably didn't expect that they would become monsters, but I have been dealing with the Qi Ling Society for so many years. This is the method of their president, Ghost Scale, Jinping. With that, Bai Yuming turned his head to look at Russell, and said earnestly, Student Luo, you'd better be more careful about inexplicable funding in the future. Russell nodded when he heard it. Thank you Master Bai for your reminder, then I'll leave first. Russell always felt that he would hear more explosive information if he listened further, but this was not a good thing for him, a small black iron level card maker. Handing the Blood Demon, gold, back to Luo Su, Bai Yuming smiled gently, go back, classmate Luo, be careful on the road. Seeing the elevator door closed, Yan Wenlei turned to look at Bai Yuming. Mr. Bai, do you think there is something wrong with this classmate Luo? That's right, Yan Wenlei has never believed in Luo Su. As the president of the City Card Master Association, he can't afford to be careless. Bai Yuming shook his head slowly. The Qi Ling Association is reluctant to throw away such a good seedling. What's more, Lu Zhirao didn't notice that he had any problems. As Bai Yuming spoke, a red-robed figure holding a token slowly appeared behind him. Judge of the Procuratorate, Lu Zhirao. Seeing the red-robed figure, Yan Wenlei couldn't help but breathe a sigh of relief, and said with a sense of relief, it seems that this classmate Luo is really fine. But where did the Qi Ling Association get so much money? Chapter 18, Rich Woman, Hungry, Food. Standing in front of the building of the Shanghai Card Master Association, Russell couldn't help but sigh. We still have to make new cards. He is now under increasing pressure. Although not many people know about the secret realm, he is still afraid that the people from the spirit beggars will come to him. After all, the matter of their training must have been leaked by an insider in the association. Who knows if there are more insiders? Russell began to calculate his gains. If the 5 green centipede materials that have not been sold are included, then his current assets are 370,000 in cash, plus an elite ghoul, purple, a centipede, purple, and a flesh demon, gold. Originally, he was going to make a Black Death card, so that he could form a bond with Tsugikuni Yoshiichi. But now the materials on hand made him give up this idea. He felt that there were better options. However, the most urgent task is to find a way to replace Flesh Demon, gold, with another material so that it can perfectly fit the card he is going to make. I just don't know if there is a suitable material on the trading website. If not, he can only try with this material. Riding on the Pidgeot, Russell returned home quickly. He turned on his computer and prepared to look for suitable materials. He opened the filter on the trading website, and a few materials of black iron grade and gold appeared sparsely. When he saw the name of one of the materials, Russell's heart couldn't help but beat. He didn't expect that there was really a suitable material. Item category black iron grade material, type 1 biological colonization suit, gold. The price is as high as 660,000. Russell's eyes darkened when he saw the price. He couldn't afford it even if he sold it. Just when he was about to add this material to the shopping cart and buy it when he had enough money, the website issued a prompt. The item has been sold and cannot be added to the shopping cart. Okay, there are so many rich people, right? Russell's face became darker. He didn't expect that the golden material he had set his eyes on would be sold so quickly. The Blood Demon, gold, that was originally going to be posted on the trading website had to be put aside for the time being. The next day, Russell yawned and came to the class. He had been thinking about the Type 1 biological colonization suit, gold, all night yesterday. Hey, if I get it, I'm lucky. If I lose it, I'm doomed. Russell silently comforted himself in his heart. At this time, the class was discussing yesterday's secret realm training. Hey, how did you harvest yesterday? I killed 3 centipede monsters, and it's a long way to go to save enough money for the next card. Yet, it ended suddenly yesterday, and I was ready to get rich. Russell, what about you? How did you harvest? Seeing that the classmates were all looking at him curiously, Russell scratched his head. He naturally wouldn't say that he got rich yesterday, but just casually said, I'm okay, that's it. At this time, Jiang Nangxi came to him. Thank you yesterday, Russell. If it weren't for you, I'm afraid I would have been in danger. Russell shook his head when he heard it. I think the classmates in the class would take action in that situation. Did you stay to protect Lin Yu? Jiang Nangxi could definitely run away if she wanted to run yesterday. After all, there was still Lin Yu and Du Heng to block her, but she still chose to stay and face the unknown monster head-on. Although her 3-tailed fox was broken after only one encounter. Speaking of Du Heng, when Luo Su was about to ask him what the result was, Jiang Nangxi said with a sneer, that may not be the case. Du Heng is going to let me die for him. Speaking of Du Heng, Jiang Nangxi was so angry that her teeth itched. After a pause, she continued, Du Heng has already dropped out of school, and no school will want him. Because Du Heng is still a student, and Jiang Nangxi was not hurt in the end, this is already the most severe punishment that can be done. Hearing Jiang Nangxi say this, Luo Su naturally did not question her, but shrugged, then I don't have to watch clowns in class all day long. After a moment of silence, Jiang Nangxi took out an envelope from his pocket and handed it to Luo Su. Russell, this is a thank you gift from my father. He was going to let you go to our house for dinner, but he is a little busy recently, so he can only do this for now. Luo Su took the envelope, opened the seal and took a look inside, and the words of rejection that weren't already on the tip of his tongue were swallowed back by him. Inside was, Type 1 biological colonization suit, gold. So you are the rich one? Exclamation mark. Silently labeling Jiang Nangxi as a little rich woman, Russell quickly put the envelope into his pocket. I won't be polite with you, I really need this material, thank you. In this way, the materials for the card Russell was going to make were collected. This time he was confident that he could make a gold or even red black iron level card. Seeing Russell accept the thank you gift, Jiang Nanxi smiled. Do you have a goal for your next card? When my father gave me this material yesterday, he told me that it would be best to make a prop card. It's good whether it's for the biological card or for your own use. Russell shook his head when he heard this. He had already chosen his goal and would not change it easily. I'm still ready. Just when Russell wanted to tell them his choice, a figure came in front of the two and knelt down with a thump. Brother Luo, Sister Jiang, thank you both for saving my life. From now on, if you tell me to go west, I will never go east. If you tell me to go east, I will never go west. It was Lin Yu. Although he was seriously injured yesterday, after being treated by the card maker in the hospital, he was able to go to school with a bandage today. Russell didn't pay attention to what he said, but asked thoughtfully, what if I tell you to go west, and Jiang Nanxi tells you to go east? Lin Yu raised his head blankly when he heard it. Russell helped him up with a smile. Just kidding, just kidding. Ding ling ling ling. The class bell rang at the right time, and the students in the Qi class returned to their seats obediently. Songjin walked into the classroom slowly, glanced at the students, and said, I believe that the students have deeply experienced the danger of the secret realm. Here, I want to praise Luo Su and Jiang Nanxi. They both adhered to the principle of not abandoning or giving up, and successfully helped Lin Yu escape from danger. Russell nodded secretly as he listened to Songjin's words below. This was to characterize the whole thing, and it also saved the students from having wild thoughts. At this time, the classroom was full of whispers. No wonder Lin Yu looked like that just now. Yes, but it's a good thing that he met Luo Su and Jiang Nanxi. If it was Du Heng. Speaking of which, why didn't Du Heng come to school today? Songjin seemed to have heard Du Heng's name, and frowned. Students Du Heng will not study in our #1 middle school in the future due to family reasons. Considering the negative impact of Du Heng's behavior, Songjin did not tell the real end of Du Heng. Seeing that Songjin didn't say it, Luo Su and Jiang Nanxi would definitely not say it. After the matter was said, it was natural to start the class. Okay, please take out the high school card making 2.3 Shanghai University Revised Edition. Huh? School is finally over. In the evening, Russell leaned back in his chair and stretched. Ever since he received the thank you gift from Jiang Nanxi's father, his heart has flown back home. After rushing back home, Russell looked at the materials in front of him and a smile gradually appeared on his face. If it was this card, he was confident that he could beat all his opponents to their knees in the upcoming Ningen District 4 Schools Joint Examination. Chapter 19 Centipede. Please start compiling your story. Kaneki Ken, as a male college student at the beginning, was no different from others. By chance, he met a girl of the same age, Kamishiro Rise, in the coffee shop Antique often went to, and fell in love with her. Unfortunately, Kaneki Ken didn't know that Kamishiro Rise was the man-eating evil ghost ghoul in the urban legend. After the date with Kamishiro Rise ended and the two separated, Kamishiro Rise revealed her true nature and seriously injured Kaneki Ken. Fortunately, the fallen steel bars submerged Kamishiro Rise, and Kaneki Ken was saved. In the hospital, the doctor decided to transplant Kamishiro Rise's organs to him in order to save Kaneki Ken's life. So Kamishiro Rise's Kukiri came to Kaneki Ken, and Kaneki Ken became a one-eyed ghoul from then on. Kaneki Ken, who became a ghoul, did not find the abnormality of his body at first until he tried human food. He found that he could no longer eat human food, and when he was on the street, he would even have an appetite for his former kind. Finally, one night he could no longer suppress his desire and began to go out hunting. On the way, he met Kirishima Taoka, a waitress at the coffee shop Antique. Kirishima Taoka naturally knew the identity of Kamishiro Rise, so she was very surprised that Kaneki Ken was still alive. By chance, Kaneki Ken learned that his senior in the school, Nishio Nishiki, was also a ghoul. Nishio Nishiki tried to kill Kaneki Ken's friend Ira. This made Kaneki Ken furious and showed Kamishiro Rise's Kagun for the first time. The runaway Kaneki Ken successfully defeated Nishio Nishiki, but was stopped by Kirishima Taoka at the last minute. After this incident, Kaneki Ken began to work in Antique and met Fuguchi mother and daughter who had the same mentality as him. The gentle Kaneki Ken quickly became a friend of Fuguchi Hinami. One day, when Fuguchi Ryako was taking Fuguchi Hinami home, Kaneki Ken saw the scene where Fuguchi Ryako was killed by the CCG investigator. Since then, Kaneki Ken has started his own training, just to avoid regretting one day in the future. Kirishima Tauka and Kaneki Ken fought with the investigators to avenge Fuguchi Ryako's unjust death, and Kaneki Ken successfully defeated the investigator Amin Katero. One day, Kamishiro Rizei's younger brother Manjo Shuchi came to the door. He came to inform Kamishiro Rizei to escape from the pursuit of the ghoul organization Bronze Tree. At the same time, Bronze Tree's cutters Kirishima Ato and Gecko also came to the door. Gecko smelled the scent of Kamishiro Rizei on Kaneki Ken, so Kaneki Ken was taken away. After Kaneki Ken was taken away by Gecko, he was abused inhumanely. Fortunately, Manjo Shuchi on the side secretly signaled Kaneki that he would rescue him. Unfortunately, the crude plan had already been seen through by Gecko. Gecko slaughtered several people in front of Kaneki Ken, which caused Kaneki Ken to collapse. In a trance, Kaneki Ken saw Kamishiro Rizei, and under her guidance, he reviewed his unfortunate childhood. He finally realized that it was not him who was wrong, but this world. In the spiritual world, he devoured Kamishiro Rizei, and the black-haired boy turned white overnight. When Gecko came again, he met Kaneki Ken who had turned black, and was easily defeated by him. After helping Tauka and others who came to rescue him, Kaneki Ken told her that he was not going to return to the antique and join the Bronze Tree. When Kaneki Ken appeared again, he attacked the prison Cuckleer with the Bronze Tree. Kaneki Ken arrived at the prison gate where Sashi was imprisoned. He was originally going to free Sashi, but he was attacked by the opponent. Sashi, who sensed Rizei's scent, completely ignored Kaneki's intentions. Kaneki fell into crisis in the face of the powerful offensive. But in the end, Kaneki Ken freed his Kagun, Centipede, and successfully defeated the opponent, but also fell into madness. In madness, Kaneki Ken defeated the investigator Shinohara, but was eventually defeated by the furious Amin Katero. Just then, the leader of the Bronze Tree, the one-eyed owl, appeared and rescued him. Soon after this incident, CCG prepared to attack the Anjing district. In the battle between CCG and the Anjing district, the Bronze Tree suddenly broke in. Kaneki also fought a decisive battle with Amin Katero and successfully defeated the opponent. But unfortunately, among the CCG personnel who came this time, there was also the Asarima Kisho. Kaneki was defeated by him, and eventually lost his memory and joined CCG. At this point in the story, Russell let out a long sigh. It was the first time for him to compile such a long story. He was not going to continue writing the next story. After all, the materials at hand were not enough to support the Kaneki he created during the period of the Investigator or the One-Eyed King. The mysterious space naturally agreed with Russell's story this time. Back to reality, a shy black-haired boy first appeared in front of Russell. Then, in the black and red centipede-like tentacles, the black-haired boy turned into a white-haired crazy man in an instant. In the end, everything turned into a card floating quietly in front of Russell. The most eye-catching thing about this card is that the two sides of the portrait are different. One side is a black-haired young student, and the other side is a white-haired crazy ghoul. Centipede, Kaneki Ken, rank, black iron quality, red category, biological skills, scaled Kakure, Kameo Rizei, 4 sharp tail-like Kagun that are exactly the same as Kamishiro Rizei, with powerful attack power and a wide attack range. Scaled Kakure, Centipede, after Kaneki's massive Go Gourmet, his RC cells changed, producing terrifying Kagun like a centipede, which is not only extremely fast, but also extremely destructive and has outstanding defense. Features: one-eyed ghoul, a ghoul with a half-human, half-ghoul body, which has a superior body and Kagun strength compared to ordinary ghouls. High-speed regeneration, after a long period of abuse, the ghoul's already outstanding recovery ability becomes even stronger, and non-fatal injuries can be fully recovered in a short period of time. Half-Kagun, a half-Kagun may go berserk and lose control during battle, unable to fight rationally, but the Kagun will be greatly strengthened as a result. Introduction: all the misfortunes in the world are caused by the lack of ability of the person involved. Advanced Root, Iron, Centipede, Kaneki Ken, Bronze, CCG Investigator, Sasaki Higayo, Gold, One-Eyed King, Kaneki Ken. Bond: when appearing at the same time with Kirishima Tauka and other series, the effect, Stable Zone, can be activated. When appearing at the same time with Takatsuki Izumi and other series, the effect, Bronze Tree, can be activated. Russell stared at the card information in a daze. It was the first time he had seen such a powerful card. It has 3 characteristics alone. Suppressing his excitement, Russell absorbed the card into his mind. The next moment, a white-haired young man in a black short-sleeved hoodie appeared in front of him. The most eye-catching thing about the white-haired young man was naturally the scarlet one eye. But Russell was not afraid at all. On the one hand, Kaneki Ken was very gentle to his friends, and on the other hand, the card could not harm the holder. Even whether the card has its own intelligence has not been concluded among the card makers until now. Thinking of this, Russell couldn't help but smile at Kaneki Ken. Please give me more advice in the future. Kaneki Ken smiled gently when he heard this. Please give me more advice. After greeting Kaneki Ken, Russell took him back to his mind. The creature card should be enough, Russell thought silently in his heart. At present, he still has a blood demon, gold, and more than 300,000 in cash. He can consider making a prop card for Tsugikuni Yoriichi or for himself. But he is not in a hurry. He has spent a lot of energy on making Kaneki Ken's card today, so he will talk about it another day. The plot used is the anime version, not the comic version. I have deleted and modified a lot of the content, but there are still so many. Chapter 20. There is a road to heaven but you don't take it. On the second day, perhaps because he consumed too many brain cells in card making yesterday, Russell had a rare good sleep. Although he said he was sleeping, he was actually practicing the deep blue meditation method. Most card makers have already used meditation instead of sleep. Russell would not fall behind. Riding on Pidgeot, Russell quickly came to Shanghai No. 1 Middle School. Since he had Pidgeot, he no longer had to worry about being late due to traffic jams. Although with his current level of importance, Songjin would not say much if he was late once or twice. With Songjin's hypnotic voice, the day's class began. However, Russell was still quite interested in today's class, which was about chain cards and legion cards. Students, please listen carefully to the following content. Songjin looked at the key class students below with a serious face. Chain cards, as the name suggests, are cards that have a chain effect with each other, and are generally common between creature cards and prop cards. Songjin did not keep the suspense, but directly talked about it. The more famous ones are the creature card, Li Jing, the Heavenly King of the Tower, and the prop card, Seven Treasures Linglong Tower. Songjin gave an example that was familiar to the people of the Ming Dynasty. These two cards can produce a chain effect. I won't say much about the chain effect, it is as powerful as the card bond. Card bond. Russell naturally knew that the two cards he had on hand had a bond effect, but unfortunately he didn't have enough materials to make a card that could produce a bond. Songjin, who was at the podium, naturally didn't know what Russell was thinking, but continued, chain cards are generally produced from key props in the character's story, which is also what students need to pay attention to when making cards in the future. After talking about chain cards, the next thing to talk about was legion cards. Legion cards are the top priority of card-making education. As for the reason, Songjin immediately gave the answer. The next thing to talk about is legion cards. Please pay 100,000 points of attention. Seeing Songjin so serious, the students in the key class couldn't help but sit up straight. Legion cards do not refer to the cards in the hands of a single card maker. Rather, they refer to the same cards made in batches by card makers of a group. At this point, Victoria Song pushed her glasses. Most card makers who have no talent or limited talent will either join the army or become a stationed card maker in a city who has already mastered the secret realm. In the army, the quality of the cards made by most low-level card makers is uneven. Therefore, the Ming Dynasty court also issued a part of the online card making templates for low-level card makers to make cards. The cards made by low-level card makers using the templates can be unified and generate more powerful power after being summoned in the battle formation. This is also the reason why Victoria Song is so serious. After all, in her opinion, only Russell and Zhang Nangxi in the class can be regarded as good seedlings. The final destination of other students is nothing more than the above two places. Russell also understood the meaning of Victoria Song's words at this time, and also understood how the card makers who confronted the demon army on the border fought against the enemy. But these have little to do with him. After all, he just made a red quality card last night. Time flies, and in the blink of an eye, it's time to go home. Just as Russell was about to go home, Zhang Nangxi found him. Zhang Nangxi seemed a little worried at the moment, which made Russell a little confused. He couldn't help but ask, "What's wrong?" Zhang Nangxi heard Russell's question, and after a moment of silence, he said, "Du Heng is missing." Russell was stunned when he heard it. thinking, what does Du Heng's disappearance have to do with me? Does he still have the courage to retaliate against me? Just when Russell was about to ask, Jiang Nangxi continued, my father told me that he asked you to be careful when you go home from school recently. Du Heng's parents were found dead at home this morning. It is suspected that Du Heng did it. The association is now tracking him down. Russell was full of question marks when he heard Jiang Nangxi's words, and couldn't help but say, Du Heng is so filial. At this moment, Russell's mind was full of hell jokes such as roasted whole lamb, military boxing, etc. Jiang Nangxi ignored Russell's strange words and just shook her head. Anyway, you should be careful. After saying that, she turned and left. After all, in her opinion, Du Heng had no strength to threaten Russell at all, so a reminder was enough. Russell rode Pidgeot and slowly landed under the dilapidated apartment. When he was about to go upstairs, a voice sounded from behind. It feels like I haven't seen you, Xiao Luo, for a long time. It was Aunt Sue who lived next door. Aunt Sue had a good relationship with the original owner. After all, she had watched him grow up since he was a child, otherwise he would not have dragged Russell to escape together on the day of the Demon Nest riot. And the original owner would occasionally go to Aunt Sue's place for free meals. Thinking of this, Russell couldn't help but smile, and explained aloud, after becoming a card maker, there are more things to do, and I haven't had time to see you, Aunt Sue. Why are you being polite, kid? Come to my place for dinner when you are free, Aunt Sue said with a smile. In her opinion, it was a good thing for Russell to become a card maker, at least it was much better than the original miserable orphan. Russell laughed when he heard this. Next time, definitely next time. Aunt Sue and Russell went upstairs slowly. On the way, she seemed to suddenly remember something. By the way, Xiao Luo, I'm not saying anything to you. Young people should not associate with those unsound people. Unsound people? Just as he was about to ask, Aunt Sue continued, when I went out to buy vegetables just now, I saw a young man and a second-rate guy hanging around your door. Russell was a little confused when he heard this. In his memory, the original owner's social circle could be said to be very clean, and there was no one like what Aunt Sue said. And the only person he had dealt with these days who could be called a social person was Brother Hu of Duato Finance. Could it be Brother Hu? But hasn't he paid off his debt? Although he was a little confused, Russell still said, yes, Aunt Sue is right, but the people you are talking about may have found the wrong door. I shouldn't know them. Aunt Sue was relieved when she heard this. She didn't want a good boy like Russell turned up in society. The two stood still in the stairwell, and Aunt Sue said, that's it. Aunt has to go back to cook. Xiao Luo, come to my place for dinner when you have time. Okay, I'll come when I'm free. Russell agreed with a smile. The conversation of the two echoed in the quiet and dark corridor. Turning around, Russell was holding the door handle and was about to take out the key to open the door when he felt a strong force coming, causing him to let go and take a step back. Kaneki Ken also appeared in front of him in an instant. Bang! The old, rusty, old-fashioned iron door was blown away in an instant and hit Aunt Sue hard. Ha ha ha, this kid is right, you are really a genius. Crazy laughter came from Russell's house. At this moment, Russell finally understood who Aunt Sue was talking about. Looking at Aunt Sue, who was lying on the ground with her life or death uncertain, Russell's expression was cold, and the surging murderous intent boiled in his heart. Du Heng. If you want to die, I will grant you your wish. Chapter 21 Hell has no door, you break in. What caught Russell's eyes were Du Heng and a young man with green cockscomb hair. There were also Du Heng's card Green Zombie and the card of the young man with cockscomb hair. Du Heng couldn't help but sneer when he heard Russell's words, I really can't beat you, but today Brother Gu is here, I want you to kneel down and beg for mercy. Brother Gu is a bronze-level card maker. If Du Heng was alone, he would definitely not dare to go to Russell to seek revenge. That's right, revenge. Du Heng blamed all his experiences on Russell, and never thought that his current fate was his own fault. Maybe he thought about it, but he didn't have the courage to take revenge on Jiang Nangxi. After all, her father was a gold-level card maker. But the Brother Gu mentioned by Du Heng ignored him, and said with interest, Russell, right? As long as you are willing to join our Qi Ling Club, you can do whatever you want with this kid. Today, the young man with cockscomb hair was ordered to come to absorb Du Heng, and Du Heng told him about Russell's affairs, and he couldn't help but become curious. Now, in the eyes of the cockscomb-haired young man, no matter how many Du Hengs there are, they are not as valuable as Russell. He followed Du Heng here just to see what the genius boy who saw through the plan of the Qi Ling Society looked like. If he was not valuable, it would not matter if he was killed on the spot. If he was valuable, he would surely be praised and rewarded by his superiors if he took Russell back. Therefore, the coxcomb-haired young man did not ask his superiors for instructions at all, and acted alone. Du Heng, who was beside him, turned pale when he heard this, and said, "Brother Gu, what do you mean by this?" Hearing Du Heng's question, the coxcomb-haired young man couldn't help but show a bad smile on his face. "What I mean is that compared to him, you are a complete waste. Give up, I can't join the Qi Ling Society." Russell looked at the two people opposite him coldly and fell into an internal conflict. At this moment, his heart was boiling with murderous intent. Perhaps it was the best choice to pretend to be friendly with the coxcomb-haired young man at the moment, but Russell couldn't do it. He just wanted to crush the two people opposite him into slag. In the past, facing Du Heng's repeated provocations, Russell just smiled and treated him as a clown. But he should never collude with the Qi Ling Society to attack innocent people. Moreover, Russell's own life safety was also threatened. "So, Du Heng, you killed your parents yourself, right?" Although it was a question, Russell's tone was very sure. Hearing this, the coxcomb-haired young man grinned exaggeratedly. "Although he is a waste, I am ashamed of his cruelty." Du Heng also showed a resentful look on his face, and said bitterly, "Those two old guys actually wanted me to kneel down and apologize to you. I'm right. They don't know me at all. And now with the Qi Ling Society, I still have a chance to continue making cards." If the coxcomb hadn't appeared, Du Heng might have accepted kneeling down to apologize to Russell and the others, but the appearance of the coxcomb made him see the hope of making a comeback. The Qi Ling Society also needed Du Heng to hand in his loyalty. After Du Heng killed his parents, he had no way back. Hearing Du Heng's words, Russell let out a long sigh and closed his eyes slightly. What a beast worse than pigs and dogs. At this point, the two sides had nothing to talk about. The card of the coxcomb-haired young man was a pale man with sharp fangs. Russell speculated that it was from the Vampire series. This series was relatively rare in the Ming Dynasty, but it was not that no one made it. Moreover, the upper and lower limits of vampires were very different, but I didn't know what level I was in front of me. However, seeing that Kaneki-ken next to him was not in a hurry, I thought he should be able to deal with it. Besides, with such a big commotion at the moment, the neighbors upstairs and downstairs might have already notified the Card Artist Association. All Russell had to do was to delay until the association's card makers arrived at the Happy Home community. The vampire took the lead and slammed his right fist at Russell with a whistling fist wind. Ling. The attack was blocked, and the black and red centipede-like tentacles extended from Kaneki's tailbone, cruising around Russell to protect his safety. "Change to another place, this place is too small," Russell said softly to Kaneki in front of him. Kaneki glanced at Aunt Sue who was lying on the ground, and instantly understood. Kaneki picked up Russell and walked out of the building in 5 steps. "Humph, you want to escape?" The coxcomb-haired young man showed a disdainful smile on his face. He chased after him with the vampire. Du Heng hesitated for a moment before choosing to follow him. In his opinion, as long as Russell was killed here now, he could still join the Begging Spirit Society and relieve his hatred. Outside the building, the coxcomb-haired young man said curiously, "The kid only said that you have a purple creature card, but he didn't say you have another one." Russell naturally would not kindly answer his doubts. The black and red sharp tail-like tentacles belonging to Kamishiro Rize smashed the vampire fiercely. Boom! The scene was instantly filled with smoke. Just as Kaneki was silently observing the situation in the smoke, suddenly, a black shadow attacked from the smoke and instantly hit Kaneki. Kaneki, who was hit, could not move at the moment. "A mere black iron level card died under my shadow attack. You feel honored." The proud words came from the mouth of the coxcomb. "Good opportunity." Du Heng, who was standing aside, had a look of smug joy in his eyes, and controlled his green zombie to attack Russell. But unfortunately, a black-haired young man blocked him. It was Tsugakoku Yoshiichi. Du Heng couldn't help but break his defense when he saw this scene. "Why, you made the second biological card so quickly, and why can you control 2 cards at the same time?" Thanks to Russell's extraordinary mental talent, after coming to this world for so many days, he has recently vaguely touched the threshold of the bronze level. Using 2 iron level cards at the same time is a piece of cake. Soon, Jigola Yuanai replicated the scene of the ranking test and beheaded the green zombie with one knife. But he did not continue to take the initiative to attack, but quietly retreated to Russell's side. After all, Kaniki's situation is still unclear. If things are impossible, he will retreat with Russell. The smoke gradually dissipated, and a dark shadow was seen extending from the feet of the coxcomb-headed young vampire to Kaniki's feet, firmly controlling him. Slowly, a bloodthirsty smile appeared on the vampire's face. The next moment, Kaniki burst into a blood mist all over his body. Seeing this, the coxcomb-headed young man couldn't help but feel that he had won, and couldn't help but say, "Kneel down and beg for mercy now, I can give you another chance." Du Heng on the side looked at him in disbelief. He didn't expect the coxcomb-headed young man to still want to recruit Russell at this moment. Is Russell so good? Question mark. Just as Du Heng was about to say something, he saw the coxcomb's eyes suddenly widen, as if he had seen something incredible. Looking back, he saw a huge centipede tentacle had pierced through the vampire's body and was wantonly stretching its terrifying body. At the end of the centipede tentacle was Kaniki, who looked furious. With this level of injury, ordinary black iron level cards would have been broken long ago, but Kaniki was a red quality black iron level card. High-speed regeneration quickly recovered Kaniki's injuries. The next moment, the centipede tentacles rushed towards the coxcomb-headed youth like a mad dragon. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 22. Can we reconcile? Watching the vampire gradually dissipate in the air, the coxcomb youth could not help but reveal a panicked look on his face. Impossible. Why didn't your card die? He didn't expect that his bronze level blue card would be defeated by a black iron level card. Unfortunately, he didn't know that Kaniki was a red quality black iron level card, and also had the powerful feature of high-speed regeneration, otherwise he wouldn't be so arrogant. The coxcomb youth frantically summoned the black iron level card he made when he was young, but unfortunately it was useless. Everything dissipated under Kaniki's terrifying centipede Kagoon. Spare me. Seeing that his cards had been exhausted, the coxcomb youth knelt on the ground with a plop. As long as you don't kill me, I will tell you an important information. Kaniki heard this and turned his head slightly to look at Russell. Russell was silent for a moment and shook his head at Kaniki. The next moment, the coxcomb youth was crushed into meat paste. Russell was not interested in knowing important information, which sounded very dangerous. Besides, coxcomb looked like a low-level member of the Begging Spirit Society, and Russell did not believe that he would have any particularly important information. The most important thing was that Aunt Sue was still lying on the stairwell with her life or death unknown. Du Heng was already terrified and collapsed on the ground. He did not expect that the arrogant coxcomb would be defeated so easily. He could not help but feel resentment towards coxcomb. But as Russell walked in front of him, all the resentment turned into fear of Russell in an instant. Luo, Russell, let me go. I will never dare to do it again next time. Du Heng swallowed his saliva and stammered. Russell looked at Du Heng's miserable state with an indifferent expression. You don't know you are wrong, you just know you are going to die. Seeing Russell putting death in front of him, Du Heng became hysterical. Killing is against the law. Russell. Hearing Du Heng still talking about the law shamelessly, Russell couldn't help but laugh at him. When you killed your parents, did you consider it was against the law? When you brought Qi Ling to kill me, did you consider it was against the law? Besides, when I was fighting against the criminals, I couldn't stop and kill them. I think the Card Artist Association can also forgive me. Leave it to you, Kaniki. Without continuing to care about Du Heng's ugly appearance, Russell instructed Kaniki. Ignoring the voice of 1007 coming from behind, Russell began to think about the aftermath. It is not impossible to just wait for the Card Artist Association to come and deal with it, but Russell will definitely be taken away by the association for investigation. Even if he will be released in the end, it will probably waste a lot of time, which makes Russell a little unacceptable. After this incident, who knows if he will be on the blacklist of the Spirit Beggars. Russell has never been so eager for power as he is now. He wants bronze level cards, silver level cards, and hall level cards. Putting aside the dream that cannot be realized for the time being, Russell began to think about a way out. As a senior high school student and a registered black iron level card maker of the Cardmaster Association, he cannot defy the rules and regulations of the association even if he is gifted. So after thinking about it, the only thing he can do is to ask for help. Russell took out his mobile phone and looked through the contacts in the address book. First of all, Wang Ming, Russell's previous class teacher, was skipped by him. As a class teacher of an ordinary class, Wang Ming did his best to treat students, but it was too difficult for him to deal with things like the spirit beggars. The second is Song Jin, Russell's current class teacher. To be honest, after more than half a month of getting along, Russell can see that Song Jin is a good teacher, and as the class teacher of the key class of Shanghai No. 1 Middle School, she must have connections. After listing Song Jin as a candidate, Russell continued to look through. Next was Ma Liang, the president of the Ning'an District Cardmaster Association. Russell had his contact information because of the last interview. In order to facilitate contact, Ma Liang gave him the contact information. This person was a big name, but Russell was not going to look for him. The coxcomb-haired young man could find Du Heng, the eyewitness of the Secret Realm incident, so accurately. There must be a traitor in the Qi Ling Association. Therefore, Russell was not too confident in looking for someone in the association. However, if it was Bai Yuming, it would be another matter. Russell believed that a master card maker would not defect to the Qi Ling Association. Unfortunately, during the meeting yesterday, Bai Yuming did not think of giving Russell the contact information. Finally, it was Jiang Nangxi. Jiang Nangxi. After thinking for a moment, Russell dialed the phone. Hello? Is this Jiang Nangxi? I'm Russell. This is what happened. Soon, a black sports car arrived at Xingfuyuan community. A thin middle-aged man with gold-rimmed glasses got out of the car. The man looked at the messy ground of Xingfuyuan community, and a strange color flashed in his eyes. The black sports car turned into a stream of light and flew into the brow of the man with the gold-rimmed glasses. The man with the glasses walked quickly to Luo Su and said, "You must be Luo Su, I am Jiang Nangxi's father, Jiang Wang, you can just call me Uncle Jiang." That's right, the man who came was Jiang Nangxi's father. This is also the reason why Luo Su called Jiang Nangxi. After all, it was Jiang Nangxi who told her about Du Heng, and Jiang Nangxi was the victim of the Secret Realm incident, so her father must not be the insider of the Qi Ling Society. Unless the other party is so cruel as to use his own daughter to make a nest, then Luo Su will admit defeat. Luo Su said respectfully at this time, "Hello, Uncle Jiang. Jiang Nangxi should have told you about the matter." Jiang Wang nodded, but then said, "But you said that a bronze-level card maker of the Qi Ling Society was killed by you. Can you let me see the card you used?" Luo Su understood in his heart that Jiang Wang was afraid that this matter was a trap set by himself and the Qi Ling Society. Thinking of this, Jin Mu appeared beside Luo Su instantly. Jiang Wang saw Jin Mu's pupils shrink slightly, and feeling Jin Mu's breath, he muttered to himself, "Gold? No, more than that, it's red quality." As a gold-level card maker, Jiang Wang could naturally see the approximate quality of Jin Mu. It was also after seeing Jin Mu that Jiang Wang knew why Russell could defeat a bronze-level card maker. Seeing Russell nod slightly, Jiang Wang couldn't help but admire, "Is it the material I asked Nangxi to give you yesterday? I didn't expect you to make it so quickly. You are really young and formidable." Russell's terrifying talent made Jiang Wang think of a person. That is the pillar of the Ming Dynasty, the only hall-level card maker, Yongguang, Yi Zhou. But the next moment, he threw this funny comparison out of his mind. After all, Russell in front of him is still just a small black iron-level card maker. Thinking of this, Jiang Wang said, "When the card makers from the association arrive to investigate, I will say that I was the one who killed the scum of the Qi Ling Society and Du Heng." Russell was stunned, not knowing why Jiang Wang wanted to hide it. Jiang Wang seemed to see Russell's doubts and smiled slightly. "You may be wondering why I said this. It's not only to protect you, but also for..." Chapter 23, Aftermath. Do you know why Principal Z of Shanghai No. 1 Middle School asked you to enter a secret realm for training in advance, even if it is only a lowest-level secret realm? Seeing Russell's doubts, Jiang Wang did not answer directly, but raised a new question. Russell originally thought it was for the joint examination of the 4 schools in Ning'an District, but Jiang Wang's reaction at the moment was not like that. He could not help but answer in a daze, "Isn't it for the joint examination of the 4 schools in Ning'an District later?" Hearing Russell's answer, Jiang Wang laughed softly. "Yes, you are right, but you are only half right. More importantly, It is for the secret realm that can be entered after winning the joint examination of the 4 schools. Secret realm? Is there anything special about this secret realm? Just when Russell's doubts came one after another and he was about to ask, Jiang Wang continued, this secret realm is an ordinary bronze-level secret realm. But bronze-level secret realms are opportunities that you, the senior students, can only encounter but not seek. Russell scratched his head when he heard it. Even so, it shouldn't be taken so seriously. Jiang Wang looked at Luo Su at this time. If he hadn't saved his daughter and showed such extraordinary talent, he wouldn't have said so much to a high school student. As if he saw through Luo Su's inner thoughts, Jiang Wang smiled and said, you will have the opportunity to climb up in advance after entering the bronze-level secret realm, and you will have some confidence in the Jiang Province Unified Examination at the end of this year. Generally, most of the selected high school students are at the Black Iron level. Only a small number of students with good family background and good talent will enter the bronze level before entering university. Jiang Province Unified Examination. Luo Su couldn't help but ask a question. After hearing this term, he searched his memory and couldn't find the corresponding explanation. That's right, Jiang Province Unified Examination. Since Jiang Wang had already said it, he naturally wouldn't continue to be a riddler, but explained, Jiang Province Unified Examination was only held this year. Students who performed well in the Unified Examination can be admitted to higher education institutions in Daming in advance. Luo Su suddenly realized it. No wonder Jiang Wang reminded him to pay attention to this bronze-level secret realm. After all, even if Shanghai No. 1 Middle School did not win, Jiang Nangxi could still rely on Jiang Wang to obtain future resources. But Russell was not so lucky. As an orphan, he had to rely on himself every step of the way. However, why was the Unified Examination of Jiang Province held only this year, and in his memory, the original Begging Spirit Association was not so unscrupulous? Is there something wrong with Daming? Russell thought silently in his heart, but then he suppressed these doubts in his heart. After all, this was too far away from him. Seeing that Russell had understood what he meant, Jiang Wang smiled and patted him on the shoulder. Come on, Russell, I am very optimistic about you. Jiang Wang was not just being polite, but really optimistic about Russell. After all, when he was at the Black Iron level, the highest quality card he made was gold, and it took more than half a year to make it. Unlike Russell, he just gathered the materials yesterday and made a Black Iron red card today. Thank you, Uncle Jiang, I will work hard. Russell heard Jiang Wang's encouragement and was not arrogant. After all, he also stood on the shoulders of giants to make Jinmu. And I have to count on Kubo and Kishimoto for your blessings in the future. While Russell and Jiang Wang were talking, several association vehicles with flashing red and blue lights had arrived at the Xingfuan community. A young man who was very familiar to Russell got off the car. Xiao Yifei, a junior student in the card-making department of Shanghai University. Brother Xiao, why is it you? Russell was a little surprised to see the person coming. Xiao Yifei looked at Russell for a few times before recognizing who he was. Oh, it's you, Xiao Luo. Then he sighed again. Alice, there is no way, the internship arranged by the school, I have to come. Basically, the junior and senior students of the card-making department of the Daming Higher Education Institution will go out for internships. Some of them find them by themselves, and some are arranged by the school. Xiao Yifei doesn't want to go out for internships either. Isn't it uncomfortable to play games in the school with air conditioning? Why do people have to work when they are alive? Jiang Wang said at this time. Xiao, so you know Xiao Luo? That's easy. Xiao Yifei only found Jiang Wang standing next to Russell at this time, and was shocked. Director Jiang, why are you here? As a gold-level card maker, Jiang Wang can be regarded as a backbone of a city, so he will naturally hold a position in the association. Xiao Luo is a classmate of my daughter. I happened to send him back today, and ended up running into the scum of the Qi Ling Association. Jiang Wang told Xiao Yifei the confession that he and Russell had colluded with before. Xiao Yifei was stunned when he heard this, thinking that when he received the call, it was only Xiao Luo who was talking on the other end of the phone. Thinking of this, he couldn't help but ask, didn't the phone say that Xiao Luo encountered it alone? Halfway through his words, Xiao Yifei saw Jiang Wang's smiling face and instantly changed his words. Director Jiang did a good job. Everyone can punish the scum of the Qi Ling Society. Xiao Yifei is just lazy, not stupid. With Jiang Wang's endorsement, as long as he is sure that the dead are from the Qi Ling Society, he will naturally not dig into the details. After a moment of silence, Xiao Yifei tentatively said, "Then Director Zhang, would it be convenient for you to go back with us to record what happened? The whole play is done. Zhang Wang is here, and he will definitely not refuse this request." He turned to Russell and said, "Xiao Luo, I'm afraid that your place will be destroyed by me and you can't live in it. It's better to change your residence." Russell understood what he said. Zhang Wang was reminding himself not to live in the happy home community anymore. Even if Zhang Wang could help him fool the association, there were so many people today, and it was hard to say whether his place was still safe. So he nodded slightly. "I understand, Uncle Zhang. I will find a new house later." Seeing that Russell understood what he meant, Zhang Wang said no more and sat directly in the back driver's seat of Xiao Yifei's car. At this time, Russell hesitated and asked, "Brother Xiao, I wonder how Aunt Sue next door is doing." Because Russell and Zhang Wang did not have healing cards, Aunt Sue had been lying on the ground until the people from the Cardmaster Association arrived and were carried away. "Don't worry, our people have seen that and she just broke a few bones and fainted. She is not in danger of life." Xiao Yifei saw what Russell was thinking and comforted him. Russell was relieved to hear that Aunt Sue was not seriously injured. After all, Aunt Sue was also suffering from an unexpected disaster today. "Then Xiao Luo, we will leave first." Seeing that the scene had been handled, Xiao Yifei said hello to Russell and took people away from the happy home community. Generally, the association will reimburse the damage caused by illegal card makers like this, so Russell doesn't have to pay for it himself. Returning to his old, dilapidated house, Russell sighed silently as he looked at the mess in his home. He had only been here for half a month, and he was already being targeted by a dangerous organization. He felt that his life was hopeless. However, the most urgent task at the moment was to find a new place to live. He definitely could not live in the happy home community. Chapter 24 Undercurrent. Looking at the sky, it was completely dark. Russell sighed and decided to stay in this house for one night. After letting Kaneki lift the iron door that had fallen to the ground and close it loosely, Russell sat cross-legged on the bed and began to think about the next countermeasures. First of all, he must find a chance to spend the money on him. Fortunately, Russell was alone and had no property at home. He carried his bank card and blood demon gold with him, otherwise he didn't know how he would be bullied. Thinking of this, Russell's face suddenly froze. He didn't seem to have touched the corpse. "Forget it, even if I touch the corpse, it might be confiscated." Russell could only comfort himself in his heart. Putting aside the endless thoughts in his mind, Russell silently calculated how to spend the 370,000 on hand. First of all, he had to reserve 70,000 for daily expenses. It would be more reasonable to use the remaining 300,000 to buy materials to make a prop card to enhance Yuchi's combat power or use it for self-defense. After a while, Russell had an idea in his mind, but he had consumed too much mental energy today, so it was not suitable for card making. "I'll trouble you to keep watch tonight," Russell said to Tsugikuni, Yoriichi and Kaneki. He was not a fool, so he would not take it lightly to meditate alone tonight. Anyway, with his mental power, as long as there was no fighting, it was more than enough to keep the two of them alive for one night. At the same time, in a dark shadow in Xingfuan community, a tall and thin figure was saying to another person, "Brother, should we rush in and tie up that guy? Lao Gu's matter is definitely related to him." The sturdy figure known as the boss slapped the tall and thin man in the face. "Idiot, how many times have I told you that we should keep a low profile? Are you sure that this guy is not a bait pushed out by the Cardmaster Association? And that idiot today? Who let him act on his own? If he had no contact with us, he would have ruined the president's plan. 10 lives would not be enough to pay him back. Then boss, are we just going to let it go?" the tall and thin man asked, covering his face. The sturdy figure sneered when he heard this. "He will suffer the consequences if he offends our Qi Ling Association. Let's observe for a few days to see if he is a bait thrown out." At this moment, a beam of light shone over. It was the security guard of Xingfuan. The security guard said suspiciously, "I say, what are you two doing here in secret? Such a big incident happened in the community this afternoon, and the security guards must patrol. But don't expect them to help if you really encounter criminals." The sturdy figure was illuminated by the flashlight at this moment, and the shiny bald head flashed with an oily luster. He froze all over and slowly said, We are here for a night run. Let's go now, let's go now." After saying that, he took the tall and thin man and ran out of the Xingfuan community. The security guard naturally saw that something was wrong with it too, but he was an ordinary person with a monthly salary of 3,000 yuan, so why would he risk his life? See you tomorrow, Zhang Nangxi. In the evening of the second day, after school, Russell said hello to Zhang Nangxi and hurried to the real estate agency to find a new residence. Mr. Luo, do you have any needs for a residence? The real estate agent asked Russell with a smile on his face. Although Russell looked very young, the agent did not look down on him. After all, there should be fewer idiots in a world with extraordinary beings. Apart from Du Heng, Russell seemed to have never seen a truly brainless person. Ordinary people are very perceptive. After all, you don't know if you will offend a card maker. Russell thought about his needs silently in his heart. After a long time, he said aloud, "It's a Ningen district. Is there a single family house? It's better to have a quiet environment." That's right, Russell is going to find a single family house this time. After all, Aunt Sue, who lived opposite the previous residence, is still lying in the hospital. A quiet environment can also facilitate his thinking as a card maker. The agent's eyes lit up when he heard this. Yes, there are 2 places that meet your requirements. As he said, the agent started to operate on his mobile phone. After a while, he handed the phone to Russell. This is the first place. There are business districts around it. It is quite popular and convenient for travel. Russell looked at the photos in his mobile phone silently. If it were for ordinary people, this residence would be really good, but Russell now has a Pidgeot, so he can rely on Pidgeot for travel. Seeing that Russell didn't say anything, the agent began to introduce the second residence. This is the second place. The advantage is that the landlord has already arranged the water, electricity and network. You just need to move in with your luggage, but it is a bit remote. Student, which one do you think is more suitable? At the moment, I don't know if I have been targeted by the Qi Ling Society. Logically, it is better to choose the first one. After all, the Qi Ling Society should not dare to take action in the downtown area. But, do you want to gamble? After thinking for a moment, Russell made his own choice. Let's go with the second one. Can the contract be signed today? Sure enough, there is still no way to put the lives of passers-by in danger like this. Russell sighed in his heart. Besides, at present, no one except Jiang Wang knows the information about his change of residence, so it should be no problem. The agent felt a little regretful when he heard this. He hoped that Russell would choose the first one because the first one would have a higher commission, but it was a good thing to be able to open a business. He immediately cheered up. Okay, student, please follow me. After a while, Russell signed the contract. The monthly rent was 4,000, with a deposit of 1 and a payment of 3. After signing the contract, the agent drove Russell to his new residence. This residence is worthy of its price. A 2-story detached house covering an area of about 100 square meters appeared in front of him. When he walked into the house, there was no dust. It can be seen that the landlord often hires someone to clean it. Then Mr. Luo, I'll leave first. After handing the key to Russell, the agent left. Just as Russell was wandering around the house, a bald man was sweating profusely in the detached house next door. The sound of the car when the agent arrived just now aroused the curiosity of the bald man. He looked out the window and saw Russell. What's going on? Am I exposed? The bald man was full of suspicion at this time. He had just gone to investigate with a tall and thin man last night, and Russell moved next door to him today. This made him feel a little irritable and panicked. After thinking for a while, he decided to go and see what was going on. Dingling. The doorbell caught Russell's attention, which made him a little confused. Only Zhang Nangxi and his daughter knew about his move. Did they come to his door? But he hadn't told them where he moved yet. Russell opened the door with doubts, and what caught his eye was a dazzling bald head. Russell was stunned for a moment, then he asked tentatively, Brother Hu? Yes, the bald head was Brother Hu from Duodo Finance. Brother Hu saw Russell, forced a smile on his face, and said, Long time no see, classmate Luo, I live next door to you, I just saw you, so I came to say hello. Russell was stunned when he heard it. Is it such a coincidence? But on the surface, he did not change his expression, just said, the previous place was too shabby, and I thought about moving to another place when I had some spare money. Russell and Brother Hu were not familiar with each other, so naturally he could not tell Brother Hu the real reason. Brother Hu laughed when he heard it. Please take care of me in the days after that, classmate Luo, I have something to do, so I'll leave first. Well, take care. What Russell did not see was that brother whose face instantly darkened after he turned around. From now on, the two chapters will be updated together in the morning, which will also be convenient for everyone to follow. I love you guys, and by the way, I ask for your reading and monthly tickets. I kowtow to everyone, bang bang bang. Chapter 25 Three Treasures. Spare money? Change place. Tiger Brother muttered what Russell said with a gloomy face. Is this a call to me? He didn't believe that Russell was talking nonsense, it was a call to him. But thinking of the news revealed by Qi Ling, Tiger Brother couldn't help but sneer with disdain. The Ming ship is about to sink. If not now, when will it be changed? Tiger Brother silently thought about whether to change his residence, but the next moment he gave up the idea. After all, changing places would not prove that there was something wrong with him. Russell on the other side didn't know that Tiger Brother was fighting wits and courage with the air. After what happened yesterday, he realized that his own protection was still not enough. If Kaneki was not strong enough, he would have died under the attack of the vampire at the first encounter. So he prepared to make a defensive prop card. He was lying on the sofa and swiping his phone to see if there was any suitable material. Item materials: blood-stained chessboard, green, golden beads, green, life-binding red rope, blue, broken handle of ancient sword, blue, seeing, golden beads, green, and life-binding red rope, blue. Russell's eyes lit up. He already knew what prop card to make. That was the defensive magic weapon made by Ma Xianhong, the owner of the 8 wonders in under one person, the Three Treasures bead. In the original work, the Three Treasures bead is a high-end magic weapon with self-repairing ability. It is composed of 3 beads. The middle bead activates the protective effect. Every time the protective effect is destroyed, the middle bead will shatter, and the beads on both sides will dim their luster to repair the middle bead. It can be destroyed 3 times in total. However, Russell does not need the self-repair ability. After all, even if the card is completely destroyed, it will only fall into 24-hour cooling time. Therefore, he is more inclined to strengthen the defensive ability. Soon, the materials were sent by the cuckoo bird. It only cost more than 70,000. Even if it fails, the sunk cost is acceptable. Russell thought silently in his heart. Russell drew the pattern of the 3 treasures on a blank card. 3 gold beads were strung on a thin red string, and the gold beads emitted a dazzling luster. Slowly wrapping his mental power around the material, Russell came to the dark mysterious space again. Prop cards are not as strict as biological cards in terms of story requirements, but it is not possible to succeed by just talking nonsense. Silently inputting the story of the 3 treasures, Russell waited for the judgment of the mysterious space. But the shipwreck that Russell was worried about did not happen, and the mysterious space approved the story about the 3 treasures he compiled. When his consciousness returned to reality, the completed prop card floated slightly in front of Russell. Russell absorbed the card directly into his mind. The next moment, a red string with 3 gold beads was hung around his neck. 3 treasures, rank, black iron quality, blue category, prop skills, can resist 3 black iron level attacks or 1 bronze level attack per day, and the number of times will be restored at 12 a.m. Chain, can be used with a card, Shenji Bai Lian, Ma Xianhong, to form a chain card. A very concise explanation, and there is only 1 skill. But Russell was not surprised. After all, he was only pursuing defense. If it could only resist 3 black iron level attacks, it would be completely useless, but being able to resist a bronze level attack would be completely different. After all, he was confident that Kaneki should be able to handle the black iron level, unless the opponent was a color quality. However, he had never found any relevant information in his memory about the black iron level making a color quality. Even the original owner of the higher level had no impression. Being able to resist a bronze level attack can produce a huge variable in a real battle. Moreover, even if it is a duel between card makers, this item can be used by Gigolo Yuanai or Kaneki. In this way, the 4-school joint examination in a few days should be able to be won steadily. Russell couldn't help but smile. Originally, he was not so eager to win, but after Jiang Wang's suggestion, Russell had understood the meaning of this 4-school joint examination. Closing his eyes, Russell began his meditation today. The sooner he broke through to the bronze level, the sooner he could make bronze level cards. He felt that he had already touched the threshold, and he was just 1 step away from the final step. Beside him, Gigolo Yuanai and Kaneki were silently guarding Russell. Okay, this week's ranking test is over. In the end, the top 3 in our class are Russell, Genryusai, and Lin Yu. Then these 3 students will represent our school in the 4-school joint exam. Time passed quickly, and the Qi Ling Club did not come to him again as Russell thought. At this time, Songjin stood in the battlefield of Shanghai No. 1 Middle School and loudly announced the results of the last ranking test before the 4-school joint exam. As Russell expected, he sat on the Dioyote, and no classmates wanted to challenge him. The same was true for Genryusai. That was hard for Lin Yu. As the 3rd person to replace Du Heng, he was challenged by his classmates as a soft persimmon. But fortunately, he still held on in the end. Hey, Russell and Genryusai are as strong as monsters. I don't even want to challenge them. That's right. Lin Yu can't beat them either. I was just a little bit short. What a pity. If I could make a prop card, I could beat Lin Yu. The Qi class students on the sidelines were talking about it. Ignoring the students' words, Victoria Song slowly walked in front of the 3 people and said with a smile, "Go back and have a good rest today. Tomorrow is the joint examination of the 4 schools. I hope you can win." In Victoria Song's view, Hacheng No. 1 Middle School still has great hope this year. In recent years, there have never been 2 students who have made purple cards at the beginning. Hacheng No. 1 Middle School has never had such a wonderful start. Looking at Songjin's departing figure, Lin Yu had a simple smile on his face, touched the back of his head and said, "Brother Luo, Sister Zhang, I definitely can't do it, I still have to rely on you two." Hearing this, Russell shook his head slightly. "You are not bad, come on." In Russell's opinion, Lin Yu's strength is still good among ordinary students, and he also made a steel fork-like prop card for his Minotaur, which is obviously to practice in advance for making Soul Catcher, Bullhead. However, the Bullhead is at least a bronze-level card. Genryusai said with concern at this moment, "I heard from my father that someone in Shanghai University-affiliated high school has made a gold card. I'm afraid." "What's the situation? Didn't Uncle Zhang tell her that I made a red card?" Russell couldn't help but feel confused when he heard Genryusai's words. But since Zhang Wang didn't reveal his trump card, Russell naturally wouldn't be stupid enough to say it himself. He said with an unchanged expression, "You won't know until you fight, just do your best." Lin Yu and Genryusai heard his words and nodded silently, but they were still a little pessimistic in their hearts. After all, the gap between purple cards and gold cards is still quite large. Maybe some purple cards can beat gold cards, but that's only with the blessing of some prop cards. Looking at the reactions of the two, Russell shook his head and turned back to the classroom to attend class. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.